All right, welcome to the 43rd episode of the ESOU podcast. Joining me today, as always, is Olibeau and our special guest featuring Steadyeddie. Well, do you
Hi.
like? Hello, Eddie. Do you like to be called Steadyeddie or the Steadyeddie show?
We'll say Eddie today. I think.
Okay, perfect.
Depends on the moment.
Edward.
Edward.
Well, my full
Eduardo.
name is Edward. To be fair, yeah, maybe Eduardo.
All right.
Eduardo.
Miguel, maybe Miguel.
We usually have our
Steve.
guests. We usually have our guests introduce themselves. And how would you how would you introduce yourself? I guess today.
I'm well. Yeah, I can do that. I'm
Okay.
Steadyeddie. I am a streamer and YouTuber. I kind of stopped. I still stream here and there, but I started streaming ESO, and then I did a bunch of ESO videos. I did loads of different content, and then I moved on to other games. I started playing Mortal Online 2 a lot, which is where it's probably the second game I've streamed the most, and did some videos on that, and then kind of faded out. I carried on playing games. I stopped playing ESO entirely for a while, and I'm back playing ESO at the moment. And then I messaged you saying, do you want me to come on? Because I thought it might be interesting to talk about, but
Okay.
sometimes a man craves attention, and I haven't been streaming that much. So.
The last time someone asked us to come on, they
Well, they didn't turn up.
That's fine. You're here now. It's too late. It's too late to back out.
I don't know if Eddie's actually familiar with that attempt at an episode, but yeah. I mean, this turned out well. Yeah.
I think I know which.
You do know?
Quite recent,
Yeah.
though.
Fairly recent.
Fairly recent.
With a man who will not be named.
Yes.
No, it was Horcrux, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Dropping H bombs over here. What the hell?
As long as it's not, yeah.
Ollie actually apparently had a nightmare dream about it. What was
I
your
did.
dream
I
or
had an
nightmare?
anxiety dream
You
about
had
it. I can't remember
anxiety?
what it was.
Something about
Yeah.
he asked you to show up again, and you said no.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. I had a dream that I got a message, a DM, asking to be on the podcast, and I just replied saying no.
Oh my god.
I don't know if that's an anxiety dream though, or is that like a British anxiety dream? Like what's going on here? Yeah, anxiety to me is like being chased or like I don't know.
I dream about that, and I dream of like university finals exams.
I have quite strong recurring dreams about being chased in like a zombie. Either it's a zombie
Okay.
apocalypse,
Okay.
or it's like a military state, and I'm a fugitive, and I'm being chased. I mean, it's quite, it's clearly me running away from my fears or anxieties or something.
Yeah,
but
tell us more.
They
about
haven't. They haven't caught me yet, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why I have that very, very often. Or GCSE exams, yeah.
But yeah, well, I think we kind of went off track. So yeah, feel free to keep talking about yourself, or like, what's your how'd you start out? I feel like I asked this to everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I started streaming, so I'm just moving my light because I look like I'm coming out of the heavens or something. I started streaming during lockdown, like a lot of people did.
COVID.
And I actually did a YouTube video first, and the first YouTube video I did was like this joke build video,
Right.
where I don't know quite how to explain it. I did like a video where I did like a really over the top. This is the most overpowered build of all time. It has 5 million resistances, 5 million weapon damage. You will never die, kind of thing.
Okay.
I kind of had this mental breakdown doing this YouTube video. But, it's like a character kind of thing. Obviously, taking the piss out of all these quite dramatic build videos, saying they're the best build of all time, kind of thing. Which at the time I didn't kind of realize is what you have to do to get the YouTube algorithm to work for you. But that was kind of my thing, I think, from day one, was kind of being this sort of weird satire type deal. And I kind of carried that on and did a bunch of videos that were all kind of kind of slightly taking the mick or being satirical in some way, and then I started streaming because it was lockdown, and it was just what I wanted to do, and it was very natural when I started. When I started, it was just like I used to stay up quite late, and then I'd wake up at like 10 or 11. And my girlfriend was working quite a lot through lockdown, or she was one of the first to go back to work. And I just started streaming loads, like every day that I could, basically. I would just wake up and then like roll out of bed and start streaming. That was kind of it. And I had loads of really dumb channel rewards and all this kind of thing. And then at first it was pretty much just a joke with well, not a joke so much to say, but I didn't think much of it, and then it kind of grew a little bit, and then it grew to a point where I was like, hang on, I'm doing like okay at this, I might as well sort of try a bit more. So I started streaming more and more, and then I started making YouTube videos quite consistently. But it was a bit strange with ESO because, I mean, as you guys will know, ESO YouTube is... You can mainly only be successful if you're doing guides or build videos or something along these lines. It's quite hard to do anything outside of that. So I tried doing a bunch of things, a bunch of different videos and a bunch of different like joke ideas. And I kept trying loads and loads of different things and didn't quite know what I wanted to do. I think I should have just kept doing silly spoofs. And then eventually I kind of got burnt out of ESO because I did try. I was sweating ESO, like I wanted to be good. I was a PvP. I'm a PvP player. I should probably state that because people are quite, what's the word? Funny about that. And I really wanted to be good at PvP. Like I'm really competitive. And I kind of burnt out, as a lot of people did around the same time. And then I stopped playing and I went and played Mortal Online 2, which is, for anyone that doesn't know, a full loot PvP is always... It's a full loot MMORPG. PvP is always turned on. And it's a sandbox where there's no fast travel. And all there's different towns where the banks are separate to each other. And it's got this like directional combat system, like melee combat system going, and really cool magic and stuff like this. And it's got voice chat. It's kind of like Rust, but it's more slow paced because it's an MMO. You still have the MMO grind, and in terms of how the full loot PvP works, it's more like you lose everything, but because the way that the grind works, you get to a point where it doesn't really matter when you're losing stuff. And I got really addicted to that, really, really addicted. And to this day, I've kind of slowed down playing it, to be fair, but I sunk quite a lot of hours into it. To this day, I probably think it's the most fun I've had in a game. I wouldn't say it's the best game I've had because it's really buggy, it's really clunky, it's a small game and not like it's infuriating at times. But it is like the highs of it are the most fun I've ever had in a video game, I think. But I kind of slowed down that, and this patch I've come back and I've been playing like so much. I've got like 60 hours in the last 2 weeks or something stupid. But yeah, that's basically it. And I did loads of content for Mortal as well, and I streamed that, and I probably had more success streaming Mortal than I did ESO. But it's quite a difficult game to stream because it's a full loot PvP game, and people come and grief you, and you can't really do a lot of things that you would do off stream on it. So it's quite a difficult game to stream. And then for a while, I was like, I don't want to be a gaming streamer. I don't want to stream games. So I started. This is why my name is now the Steadyeddie Show. I started a chat show.
Okay.
Like a streamed chat show. I did like 3 episodes, I think. And the idea was to stream once per week, but make it like a big thing and have like 3 hours of like content that I could take and make directly into videos from with sort of minimal editing and all this kind of thing. That was kind of the idea, but that fizzled out quite quickly because I was still working full time. And it was incredibly difficult to do on my own. But I still think the idea holds up. And if I had a massive crew of people and loads of money, I would definitely do it again. So yeah, that's basically my story thereabouts.
Yeah, I'm interested to know how you got back into ESO. Was it because you'd fizzled out of the other game, or were you directed with were you targeted with adverts for ESO as like a former player, or was it just something that was on your radar anyway? What sort of drew you back to trying ESO again?
I never quit ESO. I'd never had some grand moment where it's like, I'm done with this game and I'm never going to play it again, which is what a lot of people do, and then come back next week. I kind of just naturally got bored of it over time. And so I never like, there was never something in my head where I was like, I'm not going to play it. And I still gave it a go every now and then. And I still played maybe like one day a month or something like that. And then realized I can't really be bothered. And then it wasn't even this patch. It was kind of the last patch I started playing. And I actually had a friend from Mortal that started playing it.
Okay.
And I saw a lot of adverts. And no, it's not because I burnt out of Mortal, because Mortal's something that I can always get back into. It's just very time consuming as a game. Whereas Elder Scrolls Online is something where I've got all my gear, I've got everything I need, and I can just log on and do stuff. Mortal's a bit difficult in that you need like 5 hours to do anything valuable. It's one of those kind of games. So I kind of just started hopping on just to, I don't know. I just got the urge again. It just came out of nowhere, really. I guess I saw quite a lot of adverts about Gold Road on Twitter and things like that. And that was probably subliminally in my mind, but I never quite stopped either, I'd say.
Right.
And I also decided, the only pledge I have made to myself is to not do anything solo in the game.
Right.
To not solo, PvP, to not PvP solo at all. Because I think that I used to always play solo PvP, and I refuse to do that anymore. It's painful. So I've actually been enjoying it, because I think I'm kind of doing a new game loop for myself where I'm playing with friends, just like 2 or 3 people at a time. And it's a lot more, you can do a lot more. It's a lot more fun. And I refuse to do solo BGs because they make me want to gouge my eyes out with a spoon. So I just anything that annoys me in the game, I just don't do, and I can get along fine. So I've actually I've sort of tricked myself into enjoying it more, because I just refuse to do the things I don't enjoy, which I think is probably the most ethical
That's
way.
the way to do it.
Happy
exactly.
way to do it. I mean, I don't know if you're tricking yourself. I think you just, maybe previously you wanted to suffer. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I think previously I was trying to trick myself into thinking it was a game that it's not, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And now I just accept it as it is. I barely read the patch notes anymore. I don't like. It's been a bit weird actually, because I used to be so like, I used to read every patch notes and know exactly what's going on with every class, every skill, every passive, every set. Get on the PTS, try and find out the thing that's like broken for that patch. And now I'm like 3 weeks into the patch asking people. Oh, it's not 3 weeks into it now, but like last patch, I was halfway through the patch asking people what the hell has changed here, and like realizing skills had changed 3 patches ago, and just being like, oh, I didn't realize. And it's a lot nicer to play this way.
What do you think that is? Is this less stressful or just less work, I guess?
I think when you start getting too involved in, I think one of the reasons, I used to get really angry at the game for a while and find it very frustrating, and I disagree a lot with a lot of the combat changes they made over the years, especially to PvP. I'm not a fan of the hybridization still.
Okay.
And I think the general sort of skill ceiling has lowered for PvP, at least. I don't know what it's like for PvE. And I it's not my game, and I can't control that.
Right.
Like it's nothing to do with me, and it's I understand why they've made those changes, because the game is an Elder Scrolls game and they want people to be able to access it, and I understand why they've done the things they've done. I still think it's a lot more. I still prefer the game's combat how it was a few years ago. But I see exactly why they've done what they've done, and I don't think it's. I can't be angry about that. I don't think. I think it's best just to play it casually. I'm still like having fun playing with friends because we can kill a lot of people, and that's it. I think it's silly to get. I think as soon as you start getting, well, for me personally, I don't think it applies to everyone, but for me personally, when I start tracking the every single little change, I start to think I have some level of ownership over the game, which I just don't. And it's just easier to let it happen, and I'll just work with what happens and enjoy just playing with friends in the meantime.
Yeah. Do you think your approach to how you play games, do you think that's been affected by playing other games? Or cause what I found is, as I've got older, I play ESO very differently to as I did in my early 20s. Like, I am absolutely not bothered about getting like scores and stuff in trials anymore. But I still see people nowadays that, you know, in their early 20s trying to get top pass and stuff like that. Do you think, I mean, the way you play games, do you think that's shaped by how do you think that's shaped?
I'm kind of the same as you, but I don't know whether it's because I've got older or whether it's because I've played other games and seen. When I played Mortal, when I switched to Mortal and started getting really, really into Mortal, you know, there's the sort of group of people on Elder Scrolls Online who have, well, I don't know if it really exists anymore, because again, I just haven't paid attention to the community in the same way. But people took, when I played a few years ago, including myself, ESO like very seriously, and like really, it's like they feel some kind of ownership over the patch notes, like it has to be changed for them,
right?
Yeah.
And I definitely felt like that at one point. I definitely felt like, why are they doing this change? This is clearly a stupid change, and it's lowering the skill ceiling and all this kind of stuff. And then when I went to Mortal, I saw these same group of players, and I was just having fun in Mortal, like talking to people in town and being terrible and just being like basically a casual, what would you call it? Like a hardcore casual player. They kind of cool, aren't they? I'm that in Mortal. I'm really bad at it, and I played it so much, and I'm still terrible at it. But it's just fun. I just have fun with it. I have fun playing with friends, and I think that's the majority of players in most games are actually that, rather than the sort of sweat. And when I saw the kind of people in Mortal that have that same level of sort of ownership over or think they have sort of some kind of ownership over the patch notes and think things should be changed specifically for them, and just thinking, why are you like this? I came back to ESO and I was like, why do I care that much about these little changes that don't really affect me, you know? I don't know. Yeah, but I've also changed how I play games. And when I was in my early 20s and I was like sweating ESO and trying to get the extra 1% damage in my PvP build and all this kind of stuff, I realized I was stopped enjoying other games as much because I was trying to min-max every game I played, and it's actually taken me a lot of time to like unlearn, like get back to actually just playing games and having fun and just chilling out. And Mortal definitely taught me that because it encourages it, and a few other games did as well. And I used to be a guy who would do all the side quests before doing any main story content, you know, in these big story games. And I think I became ESO made me become a guy who wanted to like do the main story as quick as possible, because that's the main thing you're supposed to do, and then you have to get that completed so you have this buff and do this and do that. And it kind of ruined the enjoyment a bit, I think, of games in general when I was thinking too hard about like min-maxing and all this kind of stuff.
I feel that a lot. I've had that experience as well. I found, was it like Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out and ESO was already out, and as soon as I started playing Assassin's Creed games, I was immediately like looking up what the best min-max of the build is.
Yeah,
and it doesn't even matter. It's like a single player. Like, who cares?
Yeah, and you can kill anything anyway. Like it scales to you pretty much. Most of the games do anyway. Most of the single player games.
You can dress up how you want. You can play with whatever gear and skills you want. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I started playing Cyberpunk the other day, and I realized it's the first time I've picked up a game in ages where I've just like not really cared about doing anything, and I've just been dressing up silly and running people over in my car, and it's just like finding different ways to kill people and all this kind of stuff. It's the first time I've done that in a game for ages. It's been very refreshing, actually.
I think that's something that if you've played an MMO for a long time and you're focusing on that sort of min-max, I think that's something that you kind of miss from games, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Do you think part of the reason, too, why you guys are now gravitating away from min-maxing is because you know you can do it anytime you want as well? That makes sense? Like, I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's part of why like I mean I think that's part of why a lot of
True.
like let's get a very common example here with ESO PvPers, right? A lot of ESO PvPers I know, they're good players and they can build like everyone else can build, but they try out really stupid shit or like really weak things that aren't meta, and they just have fun with it. But if they could, I mean, if they wanted, they could get on the proc sets and build really tanky with no chance of almost dying. So I think there's a that element is there where you're like, I know I can do it, but I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I mean the people I was literally playing just before I joined the stream, and they were talking about. I don't know if they're listening right now, but we were talking about. I've always played solo, so it's a bit new for me to play in like a 2-man or a 3-man group. But they were saying that when they get a bit bored of PvP, we all run like pretty much just solo builds where we play together. And they were saying when they get sort of a bit bored of PvP or like something, it's getting a bit boring, getting a bit burnt out. They get like an optimal group set up, 4-man group set up with everything like min-maxed, and then rinse PvP and destroy everyone for 3 days and then leave it for a few months. That's the way it's like burn out, like going hard for like 3 days. And so they were just talking about like running what sets we'd run this patch to like absolutely dominate for 3 days and then leave it. I'm not sure I'm quite there yet. I'm not burnt out, but yeah, it's quite funny that we're all just sitting there and like we're sitting there in a suboptimal setup just because we'd rather play this class or this set or whatever it is. We still do well. Like we're still fine. Yeah, I do think that's true. Oh, well, Strix in the Twitch chat just there has to happen. Yeah, that's that's who he was talking about, the optional setup.
I think it's part of the natural progression. I mean, especially for MMOs. So you start out learning things genuinely, and then you get to the point where you can do sort of trifectas or your hardcore PvP, and then once you've sort of experienced that, the next step is to sort of try and, I don't know, is the word like handicap yourself or something? Try something different to give yourself that extra level of challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me that's been joining like a 2-man, 3-man group because I've not done that before, and you can take on weight like the power you have solo versus with 2. Solo you can do like, unless they're completely terrible, you can do like 1v4, 1v5 like max. Whereas in a group, even with one other person, you can do like 2v10, 2v12. You know, if it's good. And then with 3 people, you can go right up to doing like, I mean, we're doing like a 3v20 or something the other day, but they weren't very good to be fair. But yeah, like it's like quite exponential. Where as soon as you add one other person, when you do a 4-man and you're somewhat optimized, you can take on like so many people at a time. So I guess for me, that's kind of like the new experience that I'm having fun with. And I only go in if there's other people to play with. The rest of the time, I'm grinding for class mastery scripts.
Oh god, yeah. That took so long.
What if there was more incentive, though, to be competitive? At least within the context of ESO. That's where, like, I don't mind not playing meta, or I don't mind not optimizing or whatever. But I think a big part of the reason why I don't is because there's, like, no incentive to, really. I mean, even, like, going for world's first is, like, for a trial traffic like that. I'm like, I look at that now and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if there's any incentive for that.
Yeah, there isn't, to be fair.
Because for me, I'm like, I feel like I'm really competitive, but at the same time, I feel like I'm just like not feeling it in ESO anymore.
Yeah, I'm really, really competitive. I pick something up and like if I have to be the best at it, like it's something, I don't know what it is, but I don't think people think I am because I kind of laugh and joke around on the internet, but I'm really competitive. And I really want to be good at stuff when I play it. And that's kind of dropped off in video games, to be fair. I guess in ESO there isn't an incentive to be good at it. The only incentive is that I like the feeling of when you do like get like a really good outnumbered fight or something along those lines. That's the only incentive, is the dopamine, basically. which is a good extensive, to be fair. But I wish there was something, but there's no way of really ranking it in ESO or working it out, because there's no ranking system, and the AP leaderboard in Cyrodiil is largely meaningless in terms of like player skill. So I don't know if there was some cool cosmetics or something to go for. I don't know. Maybe some. I don't know what it would be. I think the reward system in ESO just kind of sucks in general. So I don't know how it would work.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the rewards have got better, but I mean, I wonder whether we'd still want to repeat. Like, you had to put a lot of hours into it as well to get stuff like World First.
Definitely three. Yeah. I think 3 years ago, I definitely would have, like, it would have been something. But now it's like, I don't know. But then again, I'm grinding for all the scribing animation changes. I want all of them. So
yeah.
Maybe I'm just a sucker for the grind. I don't know.
Well, what do you feel or think about the new system so far? Then, as someone who just came back to ESO, or just the game in general.
I think it's really good. I think it's really good. This patch I think is a lot better for PvP. I think it's one of the best patches they've done for PvP in a while. I don't know if people will agree or not. I don't know if it's a popular opinion, but scribing has in PvP. I'm talking specifically about PvP. I have no inkling about PvE. In PvP, it's made the weaker classes stronger because they use scribing to fix the issues, that they get the buffs and get the things that they don't have. Whereas the better classes won't use scribing because their skills outdo them. So like a Nightblade, I don't know what there's probably no scribing skill you'd use. Maybe the burst heal. But there's probably not a scribing skill that's going to actually make your class better. Same with Sorcerer, maybe a spammable on Sorcerer. So it's actually bridging the gap by making the weaker classes a little bit stronger and keeping the strong classes basically the same. And then on top of that, the mitigation changes is very noticeable in PvP. Very, very noticeable. And Templar especially, which is my main class. Last patch was so bad. It just hit no damage. And now it still hits pretty much no damage, but it hits just about enough that it's maybe considered like okay. Like my Dawnbreakers are hitting way harder than they were. So are my jabs. So it's actually I think it's a really good patch for PvP. I think I love it when games patch things or balance things through content rather than dial turns. Instead of arbitrarily making this thing do more damage or this thing do less damage, they're changing the mechanics of how the game works and adding something in to actually change the balance through that way. Of sometimes dial turns you need to do, but balancing something through content I think is actually almost always the better way to balance something. The only thing is the ink drops are terrible.
Yes.
But
I think there was a post on the forums where ink drops are meant to drop from bosses a bit more, but then I don't know how you'd get it in PvP. Maybe through leaderboard rewards or something.
Yeah. I mean, I have controversial opinions on this.
Right.
I think this is maybe too early in the podcast for my controversial ESO opinions.
Oh, no. Right, go ahead.
I think when you play an MMO, you have to accept that there are multiple parts of the MMO, and you can't shy away from doing one or the other or complain about having to do one or the other. Sure. When you buy a game, you're buying the whole game, and you can't pretend that the PvP doesn't exist in it or the PvE doesn't exist in it.
This is too hot.
Oh, no.
What? We're going in hard.
All right.
Wait, what did I say?
Keep on.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that was just me commenting.
Making
I was just joking.
PvP.
I thought I'd accidentally said a slur or something.
No, I was just joking.
But making PvE as PvP, that's going to like...
No, but it goes the other way too. It goes the other way. I don't like it when PvP is complain about having to grind PvE to get the gear or whatever, because it's in the game. You're playing an MMO. If you want to just hop into a game and PvP, go play like Dota or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that. Those are PvP games where you don't have to grind for stuff. You just get in and PvP. And this is an MMO. What do you expect to happen? This is the nature of the game. This is the crux of the game. And this is why people keep playing MMOs, is because they're addicted to grinding, whether you like it or not. That's the reason why most people carry on playing MMORPGs, because they like the dopamine rush of putting in a certain amount of time and then getting the thing they want. And I think that a lot of people get addicted to ESO PvP because they like grinding for a build and then trying that build and then getting the dopamine rush if it turns out to be a good build and doing this. The time spent and the reward from it is why people play MMORPGs. And I don't like that people shy away from having to do one thing or the other, because I think it's actually what makes the game tick and what makes people carry on playing. And it does go both ways. I think ESO's kind of... I did say that I was talking to Is There No One Else about this the other day. And he said something back, which is that the problem with ESO is that a lot of these grinds that you have to do are actually just feel quite arbitrary and feel quite boring. But I think, and this is also a hot take, I think the moment-to-moment gameplay in most of MMOs is boring. And the reason you carry on playing it is to get the grind. Think of RuneScape. RuneScape, one of the most popular MMOs and successful MMOs ever. And 90% of it is quite arbitrary, boring gameplay, because people just like when the numbers go up. And that's why I think people play MMOs. I know that's quite a hot take. And I think ESO is a bit weird because you've got sort of half the community is sort of single player Elder Scrolls gamers who just want to play the story and do that. But then you kind of get MMO play. I don't know. It's very strange. I think that the Elder Scrolls is sort of... Elder Scrolls Online is such a unique MMO, and the fact that it's kind of trying to escape being an MMO is very weird. It's such like a weird...
It's trying to cater to different groups of people all at the same time.
There's so many people it's trying to cater to, and yet they just can't achieve it. They never will be able to achieve catering to all the people. I've been playing Guild Wars 2 quite a lot recently, and that I think has quite a healthy... I don't know what the complaints of Guild Wars 2 players are, but that has... When you do the story, you have to grind for different things. I don't know if you've ever played it, but when you do the story kind of slows down at some points because you have to farm different things and get involved with different content and different events and do different parts of the game to progress the story. And I find that quite interesting because it forces the interaction with all players interacting with all of the world and doing all of the different things. And I think that, in my opinion, is how an MMORPG should be, is where it makes you do the different parts of the game and do a variety of content. But I don't think it could ever work in ESO because of the nature of it being an Elder Scrolls game.
Okay.
That's quite a controversial take, though, especially in the ESO community.
I don't think it's invalid, though. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you on a lot of these points.
Yeah, I think it's part of ZeniMax's philosophy as well with the game, is that every element of the game has its place in there, and it's you need to do a little bit of everything to do everything.
Yeah, I think that's what the game should be. I think you should have to grind for gear sets to do your PvP, because it's an MMO. That's why you play it. If you want to just play a PvP game, go play Fortnite or something, but you're going to have to do PvE in an MMO to do PvP, and vice versa. I think it should be like that. I think everyone should have to interact with the whole game.
Going back to what you said about the whole PvE, PvP thing, at least as far as ESO is concerned, because when we're talking about the whole package, we're also talking about like MMORPGs, right? As far as ESO is concerned, though, here's my hot take. Don't you think it's too skewed towards one side? In terms of what you need to play. Well, for ESO, I feel like, and this is coming from mainly a PvE now, I feel like most of the things you have to do in ESO, even if you do want a PvP eventually, is PvE.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what do you get from PvP, really? Besides some item sets and 2 skill lines. Meanwhile, in PvE, you get like 90% of that. I think don't you think that's a bit skewed, or no? where it's like whatever.
No, I do think, but that's kind of because they've. I don't know. This is obviously PvP hasn't had much attention paid on it for years and years. So I mean that's going to happen, yeah. But I get why as well because it's more PvE is more popular. But I don't know. I just I get the feeling that if they'd paid attention. There's this weird loop going on where there's no attention to pay to PvP, and then of course people aren't playing PvP because why would they? Because there's no, and then they go, well, people clearly don't like PvP. But if there was more stuff to do and more content in PvP, maybe more people would play PvP. I don't know, but so that there's this sort of weird feedback loop. I feel like where they're saying people don't like PvP, we're not going to make content for PvP, but how are people going to start enjoying PvP if there isn't content for PvP? And then it just sort of bleeds into being more and more PvE. ESO is also weird for that because it was originally supposed to be a PvP focused game, and I've always felt they shot themselves in the foot a little bit by. Well, you could look at it either way. You could say if it's a PvP MMO, they've shot themselves in the foot by making it an Elder Scrolls game because of course they're going to get the Elder Scrolls player base in, which is largely going to want to do single player content. On the other side of that, you could say if it's an Elder Scrolls MMO, they shot themselves in the foot by making it a PvP MMO because no one wants to play PvP in Elder Scrolls. But they've. I mean, the whole combat system was based around PvP, and famously, a lot of people play ESO and hate how the combat is, and hate like how little. I don't know what the word people say it doesn't have much impact or things like that. And I think it was always supposed to be for PvP, and it was always really, really fun for PvP. And then they've kind of like dragged stuff back and changed it to make it work more for PvE. And now it's kind of like in this weird in-between stage where it's a little less boring for PvP and a little less boring for PvE. And I don't know. It's strange.
I think you said something similar actually. I think this morning on the tweet. On Weather's tweet about how
I did say that, yeah,
about how like ESO shot itself in its foot by marketing as a PvP focus. I don't know, and that's one thing that still gets me after all these years. That people who come into ESO don't realize that this was initially marketed as a very PvP focused game in terms of trailers and everything. So yeah,
I don't think it.
Sorry,
I think they have the right to change it. This is also why I kind of stopped like trying to take some kind of ownership over the patch notes because it's clearly not the game I want it to be anymore, and it doesn't have to be. You know, it's their right to change it, and I don't know. The majority of people play ESO to play the single player storylines. That's the facts of it. And that they're going to make patch notes surrounded by, motivated by the majority of the player base. So I don't know. I don't really. I had more of a problem with it before, but I don't think I can understand why it is like that now, and I can't really fight against it, But when I got ESO, it was because I wanted to play PvP. I was so interested.
Same.
I saw the big sieges and I was like, oh my god, that's badass. You can like throw stone trebuchets and there's other people that are online on the keeps and all the trailers. And I actually got a PS4 just to play ESO. It was like the only reason I got a PS4 was just to be able to play ESO. I just thought it looked so cool. That was why I did it. And I was never really interested in. I was a little interested in doing the story at first, but when I realized, especially the base game stories are a bit bland, to be honest. I kind of just stopped doing them and then went into PvP pretty much. I was terrible for years. Just sitting in the huge zergs doing siege. That was all I did. It was amazing.
Do you think the PvP still holds up as a sort of unique experience across MMOs in terms of PvP gaming generally?
I think they need
it's still got the attraction.
I think they need to bring back the feeling of the sort of faction wars and a reason to play the map. Because I think the map is actually, for me now, because I did like 500 hours of just siege gaming pretty much.
Right.
But I think for a lot of people, the monumental, like huge 40v40 people, like keep fights. And I remember moments sieging, like back in the day when I was doing all the zerging stuff, like defending your last Emperor keep from the two different factions and feeling really tribal about Daggerfall Covenant or whatever I was on back then, and being really like into the faction wars and having a reason to play it. And the only reason nothing actually fundamentally has changed apart from the fact that they don't really advertise the factions, and most people log on and they don't actually know what faction they are or why.
Right.
Whereas before it was like this big decision to make, which faction are you going to be on, and people got really tribal about it and all this kind of thing. I think it is a unique experience, but it needs to sell that itself that it is. And I do think across the MMO space, it's still a unique experience. But no one knows that. No one actually knows because they don't market it. So how would anyone know? But everyone that I know I've kind of like guildies and PvE, I'll always help people out if they want to try get into PvP. And I never say go just run into people and try get killed all the time. The first thing I say to anyone that wants to get into PvP is go in, ask to join a huge group and just go siege stuff, because it's really fun when you first do it. It's so much fun if you don't know what's going on to just siege things. And I think they've actually conquered in that mechanic the whole like, how can you get new players into a PvP game, into a PvP MMO, by having those mechanics. Because in ESO you can be terrible and be effective by rocking up with siege and breaking down a keep and standing on flags and healing people or whatever it is. You can be successful in Cyrodiil by doing that. I think it's like the best way for a new player to get into it. And I think that is really unique for an MMO, because most MMOs are horrible when you play as a noob in the PvP zone. I mean, I hate Guild Wars 2 PvP. It's so frustrating. I just don't know what's going on. It's so hard to like have anything. You just don't know what's going on. I'm just like, what? Why am I doing this? At least in ESO, you shoot a keep and the stone wall breaks and that's it. You know what's going on then.
I laughed earlier when Ollie asked that question, because I was thinking to myself, I don't think it's ever coming back, because, I mean, again, going back to that tweet we talked about, right? Whether it's an ESO's initial advertising now so focused on take a side, join the war, is so different from the modern vibe of everyone can enjoy the world together. I don't know if you saw the trailer. Did you see the trailer, Ollie?
I've seen it with the sound off.
The recent one.
We all belong together or something.
I mean, it's nice. It's a nice, good feel video. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know, especially with the High Isle questline where the leaders of the alliances are trying to resolve the war peacefully. I'm just not getting the sense that they are gonna focus on alliance.
I don't think they ever will.
I don't know. And I don't know if we talked about it previously on a different podcast, but way back, it felt like PvEers were much more alliance focused than PvPers too, because of how the system worked. So you couldn't raid with people from different alliances. So naturally, a lot of raiding beef was between alliances rather than guilds.
Yeah.
So
I think this kind of goes back to the whole like. I think that there's a weird with ESO being unique in an MMO, and that it's an Elder Scrolls game, because I think if it wasn't marketed as an Elder Scrolls game, they would never have ended up in the position where they're doing this sort of quest together thing. They would stick behind the sort of faction war. But because there was such a large demand for people to be able to go anywhere as soon as they log in, that they had to change it, and it did save the game. That's not, it's not really it's not really debatable, but it's not really debatable. Like, it did save the game, but in my opinion, it did also make the act of grinding, the act of an MMO, and why you play an MMO is the grind and like achieving something, spending hours doing something to unlock the next thing. And before Tamriel, you did that sort of with the zone things, and I always had the ambition of doing all the zones and all this kind of thing. Whereas now there's not really any incentive to, but as in before for anyone that doesn't know, before the one Tamriel patch, you couldn't go, if you were in one alliance, you couldn't go to another alliance zone. So you had to, if you wanted to play with your friends, you had to join the same alliance and be with them, and you also had to be a similar level, which on paper sucks. But it does. It undeniably sucks. But the act of like the difficulty of the zones and being able to go to zones that were like leveled above you, and the act of like spending hours getting through one faction so that you could go to the next faction zone, like the reward from that was far greater than what you have now. And so it's this sort of yin yang where it's like, do you want the sort of quick being able to play with your friends, or do you want the MMO like grinding for the thing? I think that, I don't know, maybe there could have been an in-between solution. I don't know. I don't think one Tamriel was like, I don't know. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah,
they lost the MMO bit where you want to grind for the next thing in lieu of being a more like easy access Elder Scrolls game. And I don't think another MMORPG would have done that necessarily.
Well,
if it wasn't Elder Scrolls.
How do you feel about the sticker book system and a lot of the attempts by developers to make it less grindy? Do you think that's a bad thing or a good thing?
I still think the grind is. I don't know. I think the sticker book is fine because it's still a grind to get gear. It's still like spending time to do it. It's not like you just click the gear you want and get it. You still have to farm the dungeon. I think the bad bit is that it's fundamentally quite boring to farm dungeons sometimes, and I don't think the reward system works in a way that's like, it's quite arbitrary, kind of like what Is There No One Else said when I said this to him. It's that it is quite arbitrary to do it. I don't know, like Guild Wars 2, for instance, their reward system is like you choose what thing you want, and then you kind of do different content. If you're farming for like a legendary, which is the best item in the game, the highest tier item, you earn like the crafting materials and the currency for it by choosing it as like a reward. So you choose it as a reward from like a drop down menu, and then you can kind of do PvP or PvE or whatever it is to get different drops for it. And that to me kind of works better because you're doing a variety of content. Whereas if you want Olarim's set, well, Olarim's a bad example because it's quite easy to get. But if you want a certain dungeon set, you might have to do it like the same dungeon, which might be a 40-minute dungeon, like 5 times. And it's quite arbitrary and not that difficult. And I think that gets boring for people. I'm not sure. I think overall the sticker book system is fine, yeah. I don't know if there's other solutions or other things that could happen. I think the general direction of making everything really, really there needs to be a middle ground, basically, is what I'm trying to say. There needs to be a middle ground. It can't be so arbitrary and so boring that people get put off it, but it can't be so easy to get that you just click and have it, because that will just become like, what are you playing at that point? What's the point of playing?
Yeah. Well, I feel like they've kind of made a step towards that multi-system where you can do different things to get the same reward with the scribing. So I mean, the class script scraps, you're doing the daily quest, you're doing maybe some Imperial City, maybe you're doing a trial.
100%. I think scribing is really well implemented. I think it's a really the way you get affixes. I know the initial grind is a bit like doing the Wing of the Indrik and stuff is a bit arbitrary. But it's 3 hours and then you have it on all your accounts pretty much, all your characters pretty much forever. How many more hours are you going to put into it? But then getting the affixes, I think, is really I think it's really well implemented. I'm doing daily dungeon. I never do R&Ds. I'm doing R&Ds on like 7 different characters, just to get my class scripts, and then I'm setting up characters that I haven't set up for PvP. For years I haven't played, a Nightblade, and I'm setting that up for PvE and for PvP just so I can get the affixes quicker and all this kind of stuff. So it's making me play the game more and play different things in the game. I think that's a really good thing. I think that's a net good. It's getting people to queue for things that they wouldn't usually queue for, meeting new people, doing different. I think it's so good.
And you're enjoying the experience of having to do different things, even though you wouldn't have done it otherwise. Probably.
Yeah. I like the feeling of doing. Yeah, I do like the feeling of doing different things. To grind for something. If I'm grinding something, I'm doing the same dungeon over and over again. Say you had to do the same dungeon 50 times because if there's one boss in that particular dungeon that drops the class mastery scripts, and you just had to do that dungeon 50 times to get the class mastery scripts. That would be so like horrible. Whereas having and doing all this different content is way more fun to get this class mastery. I think it's a really good idea how they've implemented it. I'm gonna try do trials. I've never done trials. I've done the Oliream. Which one's the Oliream trial? Cloud Rest.
Cloud Rest, yeah.
I've done Cloud Rest on normal like 3 times. That's my entire trial experience in this game. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah. But are you finding the group finder and stuff is useful? Have you found that systems they've implemented in the past are sort of helping them with what they're implementing now?
I haven't used the group finder.
You haven't used the group finder, okay.
No, you may have.
Okay.
You might need that for the trials, possibly.
With my Discord abilities.
Oh yeah.
I'm quite averted to new technology sometimes. It takes me quite a long time for me to realise it's there actually. I will need to use the group finder. I will use group finder. I didn't realise you could get trial groups with that. I was about to go to Craglorn and spam.
No, Craglorn's empty now.
No way.
Yeah.
That's wild. I didn't know that at all. That's good though. I'm glad they implemented that. Does it work well?
Yeah. I mean, a couple of months ago, I feel like people didn't even know it existed. I mean, you, for example.
I know. I have this weird thing. I know it exists, and I just didn't click on it to see what it is. I don't know, set in my ways, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the first few months of it coming out, you'd still have way more success trying to find a trial group in Craglorn than you would anywhere else. But now that people are using it, it's nice that you can go and do your dailies whilst also looking for a group at the same time. You don't have to stand AFK in Craglorn.
Yeah, decent.
And I think the more people that realise that and actually start using the group finder, the better it's going to be. And I think the more fun people will have trying all that other content as well.
Yeah, I hated sitting. The actual reason I've never done trials is because I didn't like sitting in Craglorn. I just,
Yeah, no, I mean, no wonder. It's really dull.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah. Yeah, I'll use that. Get my 3 class scripts.
Yeah.
Class mastery script. Easy peasy.
I can hear Nefas thinking.
I'm always thinking. I'm always thinking.
Is this Nefas about to say something, or am I?
He's going to bestow some wisdom upon us.
I'm just thinking about all the things we've talked about so far. I'm trying to find the thread here. Like I kind of lost it for a second, but
I've kind of talked a lot of trash, to be honest. So.
What do you mean trash?
Well, it's not trash. I've talked a lot of wisdom, actually. Sorry, I've just been talking a lot of wisdom for a while. Have you been writing it down?
Yeah. No, I'm just listening. Do you think? Okay, because you keep talking about how you don't really own the patch notes or really own the combat balancing, but do you think there's like an objective way for everyone to be happy?
No.
Can anyone be really truly happy?
No, I think there is.
I don't know.
Okay.
But everyone wants to play this game in a different way. The community is so split up.
Is it
What's
that
the
there's
change that you think would make everyone happy?
Well, hold up. Because previously you said half of the community or more are just solo players, or they just focus on whatever, or maybe they play similarly to you now, where you don't really read the patch notes or you don't really give a shit about what's really optimal, right? So that now at that point you have to focus on the demographic that really actually does care about combat balancing, and I feel like the general consensus at the moment is that. Okay, we've kind of standardized everything, so why don't we just let loose in terms of the combat balancing? Why not make everything why is there such a huge attempt to fine-tune things, right, to where it doesn't really feel fun? Like, sure, it might be a little balanced, but it's not like fun, if that makes sense.
It's not that I don't care about the patch changes entirely. It's more that I won't sit there and read the small little tweaks and read everything that they've done. If they made... I was ready to stop playing again if I didn't like how scribing was. If scribing was implemented horribly. If scribing was like horribly OP, so you had to have it. And whoever wins is the person with more scribing skills, that kind of thing, which kind of happened in the past with like Greymore and Mythics.
Mm-hmm. But you don't get the sense from scribing like that?
No,
really?
Not at all.
Because that's like the opposite of what Nice was talking about on the last podcast, where...
Oh, really?
Yeah, where...
Well, tell Nice he's stinky and wrong.
Where we're talking about some of the... Like, there are clear advantages to having some of those skills.
I think it depends on the class, actually. I think if you're playing a sorcerer or a nightblade, actually, it doesn't matter if you have scribing. I think if you're playing the weaker classes, I think it does. I think if I'm playing a Templar with scribing versus a Templar without it, well, it's still not that crazy compared to it, to be fair, because what have I changed on Templar? I've actually dropped... Templar doesn't have much bar space in PvP, because you need a lot of skills. So I've dropped the burst heal for the healing soul burst heal that gives you major vitality. I made it give me major vitality. And because I'm in a group, I've dropped Caltrops Major Breach to do contingency, because you get the big burst with contingency where you hit contingency and then on the next skill you hit Dawnbreaker and it all goes off at once. So it can give you a big burst, and then I drop Major Breach because someone else in my group sources it. But if I'm solo, then I have to still run Caltrops because Major Breach is going to be more valuable than the other thing. So the only skill I'd have on my bar would be the heal, and then so all I've got over someone without scribing is major vitality, which isn't that much, to be fair. You know, in the grand scheme of things, with how much damage and how much healing there is already. So I don't think you're completely useless if you don't have it, basically.
Sure, but there are advantages to having it.
Yeah, there are, 100%.
Just like how you're not completely useless without mythics, but you still have advantages of mythics.
The mythics were more like the Malakath when Malakath was added.
Sure.
25% extra damage. This was at a time when crit damage was pretty much useless in PvP. So you were getting just 25% more damage than 25% is a lot more damage than the other player. Whereas scribing, it's like a buff that the other person might have or not have. I don't think it's as much. The scaling on the abilities is standardized now, so you know the Wield Soul spammable is about the same as other spammables. I don't know. I don't think it's as crazy as people are making it out to be. I do think you're stronger if you have scribing, but I think it's like way less % than it was when you had mythics versus no mythics. It was like essential to have Malakath. If you were fighting someone with Malakath, or whoever had Malakath won in a fight within, like that was it. Like there's just that was it. There was no other. You had to have Malakath to be competitive in PvP in any way, shape, or form. It was unbelievable. It was so beyond anything else you could wear. 25. Oh man, it was unbelievable. I was like, that was a patch I was angry about in terms of balance, but I did buy it because I wanted Malakath to be competitive. So that's what I mean. Like I was forced into buying it to have it. I don't think you necessarily are forced into scribing in the same way. I think you're like 5% more powerful with scribing than without it. I don't think you're like. I think the best thing they've done this patch is the mitigation change. I think that's the best thing they've done.
The mitigation in regards to like some of the passives, right, from CP and armor.
The calculations are done.
The calculations.
Yeah, they fucked up on those, so they finally updated it, right? So
yeah, they fixed them basically. Yeah, I think that's actually the biggest like W for PvP is that change. Genuinely, it's really good.
Has it actually affected PvP though?
Yeah,
a lot.
100%.
I
don't
know.
Well, define a lot.
I could feel it in Infinite Archive from the later
it.
arcs.
Oh, okay, you can feel it. Okay, sure.
I played Templar last patch,
valid.
and I could kill like barely anyone. And I played Templar this patch, and I can kill some people. Which to me is a humongous difference.
Templar can kill some people, says Steadyeddie.
I think that's fair, but when I say a lot, I mean, will it like swing the pendulum way far enough that people will build more damage and less into tankiness? But I think because of the balancing, that's not going to change even with the armor changes.
People will build more into tankiness now because they're going to mitigate against the extra damage that's incoming.
Right.
So I actually think we're feeling the effect now, but in a few weeks when people catch on.
Yeah.
I've already changed my build so I take less damage. I'm actually more tanky this patch than I was last patch because of it. But I think at the moment it's fine, and then we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. To be fair, I think it's too early to tell.
Oh yeah,
actually. So my original answer is yes, it's noticeable, but I think people haven't caught on to how to change their build to match it. There's also certain things because of the because of how it calculates now. Like you have to run like I can't remember the maths of it, but it was someone that played was talking about heavy armor and light armor actually don't balance each other out now because of how multiplicative things were. I kind of got lost because I kind of just like spamming jabs and seeing what happens, but something about the maths means that heavy armor and light armor aren't cancelling each other out properly anymore, so you have to run medium armor. So that's a bit scuffed, but yeah, we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. My original answer is yes, it's changed a lot, and I feel a lot more damage, but I do think people will catch on and realize that they need to build a bit more tanky and lose it in the future. So we'll see, pretty much. But so far, it's been really fun.
Okay.
That's usually what happens with these patches, though. If you're first to the meta, then you're going to have the most fun for a few weeks, and then it's going to get dry after a few weeks when people catch on.
What do you think is going to happen in Q4 for PvP? Because they did announce that it's a non-Cyrodiil related. Like, it's not related to Cyrodiil. It's PvP update.
My guess is group duels.
Oh.
Which I think is going to be. That was my guess.
Okay.
And I don't think it's going to be anything more. I think they're going to do group duels and be like, maybe I'm pessimistic because I wouldn't be satisfied with group duels. I should be like, great, should have added this years ago.
What?
Maybe a new BG map. They said feature. They said the word feature. Feature.
Yeah, it's got to be something unique.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna. I think it's going to be group duels, and I think it's going to be a bit underwhelming, to be honest. I would like to be surprised. I would like to be like, whoa, oh my god, I can't wait.
I think it's going to be something similar to Infinite Archive. But sorry, go on.
What, like a battle royale something?
It's got to be some sort of system where they can keep adding to it in the future. Like Infinite Archive.
About like a gladiator system.
They call it...
You do duels.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I should.
But no one dies 1v1.
Duels.
No one dies 1v1. I mean...
They could add like buffs or something around the map, or, you know, like, I don't know. Something to...
Yeah, we'll see.
Change it up.
I would like to be surprised. I'd like something awesome, like a real cool feature.
Mm-hmm.
Some Strixter, some PvP arena with buffs like IA. That would be awesome. That'd be so cool, actually. Like, imagine having to pick your buffs to, like, you getting a bit of RNG with the buffs, and then you get good buffs, and you start being able to kill everyone that comes your way. That'd be awesome.
And they had that in Battlegrounds. Do you remember when Battlegrounds came out? You had the little buff you could pick up that would.
Oh yeah.
Deadly.
That was a long time ago.
That was a really long time ago.
Wow, I completely forgot about that. Oh my god.
It's kind of weird that they got rid of that, because I didn't think that was like.
I think it was a bit annoying if you. Yeah, I think people probably complain because I think there's a bit too much ego among ESO PvP. There's so much RNG in this game now. It's like, yeah.
What do you mean by ego?
Is that bad? I think, like when I play Mortal.
Uh-huh.
When I play Mortal, there's a very good understanding that certain classes should be able to kill other classes, and certain situations you're expected to die. And it's no shame if you die in those situations, because that's the balance of the game and that's how it works. Whereas in this game, you can die 10v1 and then someone will upload it on YouTube and say you've been exposed with like future bass on it. And some like crazy slow motion edit. And it's like, what do you mean? And like certain classes should be able to kill other classes 1v1 in the game. And that's just how balance works. And I think people take it a bit too strongly, I think, and just chill out, basically. I think what I'm saying is that it's say there was a PvP arena with buffs like IA, and one person got all the amazing buffs and got really lucky and got like 50% extra damage on your class skills or something like that, and all these crazy buffs, and then the other person got really unlucky, but they were like better than them, but they got really unlucky and got terrible buffs. The person with all the buffs would most likely kill the person without all the buffs, but then they would, like, if they had an ego, they would flaunt it like they've killed this player who's supposedly good, but obviously they're going to, because they had all the buffs. Immortal people wouldn't care. They'd be like, yeah, I had all the buffs, of course I'm going to kill you. Whereas in ESO, there's like this weird thing where no matter what, if you've killed them, like, you're better than them, and and then they'll upload it on YouTube with terrible music.
Yeah, the exposed videos though.
Yeah,
that's like so 2014.
Duels mean nothing in this game anymore. It's bizarre.
You don't think so? You don't think duels matter?
No, not really.
Not even like the dueling tournaments where they have the roles sets.
I think dueling
tournaments. You can't do that.
Yeah, I think there's a bit more merit to them, but like
okay.
the 1v1 in Cyrodiil, no way. I don't think that just usually no one dies in a 1v1 in Cyrodiil, or if you do, it's because you've lagged or you've got a terrible build on. Last time I died in Cyrodiil 1v1 was because I had a terrible build on, because I'd just come back and I didn't know what to run.
Is that what you tell yourself every night?
Yeah. I actually write it on my wall and read it before I go to bed.
I'm just messing around. Just a quick detour here, because I have both of you on, right? And you guys are both from the UK, right? Because you guys both use British Standard Time.
And you told us what time to be here in EST. Like, when
you
is
know what Ali said? Like, we have two British people, and we're still using colonial time. Like, we probably had a teacup in his head and we typed that shit.
The US Empire won this day.
But do you guys remember that the Willy Wonka experience event?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? What do you guys think about that? I found it fascinating, actually.
It was incredible.
What? How long have you been thinking about this? How long have you been waiting to?
Like 5 minutes ago. Like, it just kind of popped in my mind.
I love starring in it. Yeah.
Wait, you were there?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
No? Okay.
I wish I was. I would have done anything to be a part of that.
Yeah. I mean,
I wonder if any of the actors involved and their stories and like I wonder if they've got any work off the back of it.
Oh, they have. Yeah. The
Did
the Oompa Loompa lady, the one that looked really fed up. She got some work in something.
No way, like in something big, or
I don't think it was big. I think she had like a job offer
to be like annoyed cafe.
I don't know, like one of these like actors, unemployed actors in Thorpe Park, or one of them kind of things. Like
okay, so she got something out of it. Yeah, that's well paid stuff for an actor. Yeah, that's decent.
I mean, wasn't the whole script sort of written by AI or something?
Yeah, it was. It was entirely AI and made no sense. And then the AI invented a character, which was called, I can't remember what it was called, but it was basically like death.
Oh, right.
Death would come out from behind the mirror. And they just they had this character that never appeared in Willy Wonka, in any form of Willy Wonka at all, and it just appeared in this AI version of it, which I think is really interesting. I had a friend that wrote a dissertation about using AI to make music, and this is really off topic, but it's
no, feel free.
No.
Feel free.
He wrote a dissertation about using AI to make music, and AI and music. I do music just as a hobby. Do like electronic music, and AI tools have been used in electronic music production for years and years and years, but only now is when it's been used to actually create like whole songs, and they're trying to make it so AI can create a song. And he trained. He's really into dance music, like UK dance music. So he is it called deep learning, when you like put the same thing through over and over again and it tries to match it? He did that, but for like jungle music, and tried to get AI.
And jungle
to
is
learn.
massive as well.
And it was massive, yeah. Hang on, I might have gone here.
Oh,
sorry, I'm back. I have a problem with my internet. Jungle is massive, yes. He trained the AI to make jungle music, which, for anyone that doesn't know, is a form of UK dance music. Drum and bass is derivative of jungle, and all these kind of things. But what he analysed in it was the sort of, he calls them ghosts that the AI has made. So in all the tracks there was like this voice that would come, and he called it like a ghost voice. He called it a ghost, and there was this woman that would speak in these songs or try and sing over these songs, and the AI just created it. It wasn't in the original audio source or anything along these lines. It just created this sort of ghost, if you will. And the Willy Wonka thing did the same by creating this death character that just appeared nowhere, and it's very interesting how these sort of things appear in AI.
So, artifacts, I think sometimes they get called as well. Yeah. But I feel what that could come from is, I mean, when people accuse AI of just being a sort of large library of things that it just steals a little bit from each one, and often when people upload some media, they'll put a watermark on it, especially audio and stuff. There'll be a watermark of someone saying, this is copyright. I mean, maybe that could turn into a ghost if AI thinks, oh, all these copyright-free sounds have got like a woman saying copyright.
Yeah, that's funny. It's weird though. This is again off topic, but in the music, there was this VST, which is like an instrument, a digital instrument released, where you can put audio in it, and it tries to create the synth. It tries to create like a synth version of the audio. It tries to create with AI the audio, and then you can play it as an instrument. So you can so it can match the sound. If you think of a sound, or if you input a sound, it can make it for you basically. And it was maybe like 80% effective. And people they were obsessed with it, and it's sort of like the democratization of the music making process. Sorry, I just burped on stream. That's right. It's the democratization of the music making process, and anyone can make any sound they want and all this kind of thing. It's sort of great and makes people be able to make music. And I followed someone on Twitter who was retweeting how great this VST was, but then next to it were retweets about how terrible AI in music is, and how terrible, how soon all the musicians are going to be out of a job because of AI making music. And I just thought it's the same. You're praising it in one bit and then saying it's terrible in the other. It's weird. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest. I
mean, it's such a difficult topic. I mean, you feel for the people that have been creating organically for years, and now there's this whole new thing that's sort of,
I think it's definitely a problem for visual art more than music.
Well,
music
I mean, have you seen the artist Grimes? She's like gone one step further, and she's sort of selling her digital self pretty much. And like, you can create
as an AI.
Yeah, I mean, she thinks she's an AI anyway, but you can if you can create, like, she's got a like a bot or something, an AI thing where you can. I mean, I've tried it. You can sing into it, and then it will have Grimes singing back, and it sounds just like her, and it's really creepy. And you can, if you make a song with it, you can have 50% of the royalties as long as she has the other 50%. So you can basically have Grimes featuring on any of your tracks if you want. And I feel like, I mean, going back to MMOs, I feel like this is something that could...
How are you going to do this? Go on, Ollie.
All right, Ollie.
No, I mean, people have already had this. Is it James Earl Jones has sold the rights to his voice to be used as like an AI in future Star Wars films after he's gone? I mean, could we see the return of the Prophet in ESO by just using
insane, yeah.
Teaching an AI Michael Gambon lines?
I see what you're saying. Okay. I think, well, I think that's all, not just an MMO thing, but it's a gaming thing, because it's happened already. Like, some games incorporate AI voices. Remember that one MMO, or not MMO, I don't even know what to call it, that scam, the day before. Yeah. They use AI voices.
No, that really good game, that
really awesome non-scam game. But and a lot of voice actors, or a lot that I see anyway, or talk to, they say, like, it's okay if you want to use my voice, just ask, or pay towards my estate or something like that, right? Like, as long as you get permission, I think it's fine to use AI for those voices.
I mean, I used to do acting when I was younger. I did a lot of acting, and nearly sort of pursued it in as an adult as well. And I actually wouldn't like it because I wouldn't have ownership of the acting performance. You couldn't choose. I might hear my AI self saying something in a certain way and going, that's terrible acting, kind of thing. And then that's your brand as well being tarnished. It's kind of like, yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword, because you could get more stuff and get more royalties from stuff, but also you might become less employed in the future because they think that's a terrible acting performance of this guy. I don't know. I wouldn't want it happening because of that specifically, which probably is something that Michael Gambon would probably feel if. Yeah.
We're gonna have to get a Ouija board to get him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I just mean, like, I think a lot of people use AI as like a way to basically steal, and I think that's just fucked up, to me anyway.
Yeah.
Whether it's art or voices or even writing, I don't know. It doesn't really feel.
I struggle
like...
to have an opinion with it with music, because I've used it in certain ways for so many years, and now I'm like, but I wouldn't want to make a whole song with it.
Sure, exactly.
Also, like, I don't know. It's weird. It's how you use it, I guess, versus it itself.
Yeah. How much would you sell your AI self for? Because everyone's got a price, right?
How much money would I need to live for the rest of my life?
It depends how much you want to live. 20 quid. I'll shoot you right now.
Hey, if your grind set is different, that 20 quid. If your grind set's like mine, that 20 quid is going to last me. If someone could just give me 20 quid now, it'll last me the rest of my life. I don't know. Quite a lot of millions, I think. I'm probably worth it.
That's a great outlook, honestly. Like, I feel like people undervalue themselves too much. Like, everybody,
I mean, it would have to be a lot, because I think it would miss it. Maybe it actually, well, to be fair, it wouldn't have to be as much now, because I'm not pursuing. If I was an actor and I was being bought out, it would be a lot, because for the reason I said. If it was me now, not trying to be an actor, I think it may be less, because it wouldn't matter to me as much.
You could end up being like the face of like Viagra or something. You could.
I've got a funny story about that.
Okay, oh no.
There used to be. Where do you live in London, Ollie? Where do you live? Do you remember the
Yes, I live in London.
Do you remember the adverts in the underground that were "Don't be like Ed," meaning don't be like erectile dysfunction?
I don't. I'm not a local, so
I don't remember this.
There used to be these adverts in the underground that would be
billboards in the metro.
In the metro, yes.
Okay.
Huge, saying "Don't be like Ed." I had so many people send that to me, and it was about erectile dysfunction. It was an advert for Viagra. I had a semi-viral tweet online about it as well, because I
You had a semi-viral tweet.
Yeah, because semi's related to what Viagra does, isn't it? Really, because you don't. Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah. So.
Do you feel proud of that?
Yeah.
So
I
I just feel like MMO players don't. Yeah. I don't feel like MMO players really. Yeah, I think they need to grind harder, basically.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a dead actor in like a video game in the next 10 years.
I wouldn't either. I think it's coming.
It's already happened, hasn't it?
Already. Yeah.
It's already happened.
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. Some modders. Pretty
I
sure.
don't mean someone that's recorded it and then died before the game was released. I mean like it's sort of AI.
Yeah. Modders have been. Some modders have been using AI for borrowing people's voices, both dead or alive. So I mean, it's already a thing.
Wow. We're living in the future. How long before it comes to ESO?
I don't think they'd do it. I think there'd be too much backlash.
No,
there's a lot of artists in the ESO community, isn't there?
I mean,
a lot of
you
people
guys remember was it 2 or 3 times? 2 times, I think. Whoever contracts for ZOS or works at ZOS for art, like they not borrowed, but they basically like plagiarized.
I do remember that.
You remember that, right? They plagiarized community art, and there was a lot of backlash over that. There was even a couple articles.
But the ocean thing, the ocean like little GIF on Twitter.
The what?
Is that the one you're talking about? It was like an ocean. I made a video about it, or one of something like this. There was one where it was Let me find it because I won't remember
one with like a pattern that was almost identical to something.
No, I remember an ocean, and it was around High Isle, I think.
Oh no, that's not really plagiarism. That's just a GIF, right? I know what you're talking about. The Saga made a video on it, I think, a long time ago. It was
like an original thing, but they're taking the textures of the sea from.
No, they recorded the video. I'm pretty sure borrowed the recording of the video. I don't know how that works, but they.
Right.
It was a video of a stormy sea, and they posted it as a teaser to High Isle.
Yes, it was that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm also talking about like there was back in 2019. There was a tabletop.
I wasn't playing. I wasn't playing then. I don't.
Oh, okay. There was a tabletop RPG thing that people said was plagiarized, and then a couple years ago it was the tattoo, ApoAlaia tattoo, but it's actually a Soul tattoo. And then another one. There's been multiple. Another one was was it the motif? I don't know. There's been a few. But I don't know if that's like honest. It was probably honest mistakes, or maybe
they seem like honest mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe they hired.
Them, didn't they?
Yeah, they do rectify them, and they reached out to at least one of the artists and said, "Hey, we're gonna try to compensate you, or whatever."
Yeah, it sounds like honest. I mean, things do look the same sometimes.
Or contractors might have just plagiarized. I don't know.
Yeah, it can happen.
No one knows what happens besides except them. But at least they try to make up for it. What's up?
I was just laughing at the contractors.
What?
The contractors.
I was just laughing at the contractors, just the idea of them.
Oh,
there's
like
nothing.
just being lazy. I mean,
delivering the same products to
Sure.
multiple clients. Yeah. I mean, direct. Maybe some of the ESO quests are already written by AI.
I have thought that. Like, what if the fetch quests are like? Well, yeah, like the more boring like daily stuff where you don't need a riveting storyline. What if they're like, tell us, create an ESO quest where you have to get this thing or something. I don't know, and then they write off of that. I don't think anything would be directly plagiarized. I think that would be beneath them, but I could imagine it happening for like but not for the main story quest, for like something that's like one of the dailies or something along those lines. I could imagine that happening as long as they implemented it well. No one does dailies for the story, really, do they? Or maybe they do. I don't know. Every day I'm saving.
I'm invested in these dragons I'm slaying. Oh dear.
What next?
What next for ESO?
Or
in this podcast. What next?
I mean, whatever you want to talk about. Like, we talk about everything or anything you want. I mean, I did one time we talked about.
You asked me. Tell me. Ask me things, and I will give opinions.
Okay. Well, who's your favorite group of people in ESO?
What to play with? Like community-wise?
Yeah, community-wise, sure.
I'm pretty insular, to be honest. I'm in the Rose Guild. You know the Rose Guilds?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love the Rose Guilds. I think everyone in the Rose Guilds is so nice.
Is it Gary L?
Yeah.
I found Gary L in PvP once. Fucking smashed him, mate. No, I'm joking. No, I didn't. They were in a huge group. I got zerged and died loads, but it was very funny. It was really fun. I really like the Rose Guilds. I think they're super nice, and their add-on is underratedly just so OP on EU. I don't know if they're on NA, are they?
Oh no, EU.
Yeah, they've got an add-on where it adds little roses to the chat box, and you click on it, and it brings you directly to the guild house without having to type in or find them on the guild list. It's so good, man. I use it. It's the best. It's the best add-on I've got by so far.
Good.
But I don't know. I don't really. I just play. Right now, there's like, I mean, they're probably listening now and playing. But I was playing with two guys earlier. That's pretty much the only people I've spoken to since I've come back on voice chat. And then I'd like to help out in guilds when I can, but I just speak in the guild chat or in group chat. I like helping people get into PvP. Yeah, I like helping people get into PvP. I think it's fun. But yeah, I in terms of groups, I don't like playing with PvP sweats so much. I think because the ego, but there's not many of them left, to be fair. They're also the more likely group of people to be slurring in the voice chat, so tend to avoid that. I prefer playing with people who are more chilled out, to be honest. Don't really care if they win or lose, just playing the game.
Yeah.
I play with people a lot in Mortal like that. The guild I'm in Mortal Online 2 is called Nahuat, and Nahuat is the it's basically weed in Mortal Online 2. It's like an illegal when you pick it up.
Skooma kind of.
Yeah, but it is actually a weed icon. It's a marijuana plant, and it looks like a marijuana plant in game. It's just called Nahuat. And the guild I'm in is I don't smoke, but all the people in the guild just smoke, and they just sit there and smoke weed and fish basically in game. It's amazing. It's so chilled out though. It's like there's no stress. You just hang out, nothing to do. That's the kind of people I like playing with, to be honest. I think PvE is more fun to play with. People that do quests and PvE are more fun to play with than PvP is a lot of the time, to be honest. But I don't like my underrated least favorite person to play with are people that do everything properly.
What do you mean?
This is so salty.
They don't skip trash, or like what? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
No, it's not skipping trash is fine. It's stuff like they won't. Sometimes I miss a chest because I just think I'm just gonna pick up another white rubidite ash and I'm gonna have to run all the way back to get it, and there's like a 1 in 100 chance I get like a cool motif that sells for 40k or something. So some people will like say there's a chest and they won't move on until everyone has got the chest. And they're like, you have to pick up every single item from every single trash mob, and like you have to do everything properly, and like every little bit of gold helps, and like you have to do everything. I don't know if you know the kind of players I'm talking about.
Kind of, yeah.
It's very
I've tried
specific.
to do content with them, and I get very angry that they're looting everything.
Yeah,
like,
why? I
picking
don't
up
want
every
to
wardrobe and.
Yeah, and like they're like, I'm like, I don't want to pick
wait.
up every single. Like...
So, were your issues with people who loot everything?
It's when they try to implement their philosophy on me and tell me.
Okay.
When I'm like, I can't be bothered. I don't want to sit here and loot everything. And I don't mind. I don't mind waiting for them to loot stuff. But sometimes they're like, why are you not looting everything? You're gonna get like 500 gold from this. I'm like, I don't. I got stuff to do. Like, I don't mind waiting for them to do it, as long as they don't like tell me I have to like do all this stuff, or I don't know. It's a very specific. It's like It's like, you know what it is? It's milsim gamers. It's military simulator gamers. That's what it is. It's people that kind of like you have to do this, and then you do this, and that's the optimal way to like grind this. You're getting every piece of gold possible from this, and make sure you have traits researching on every character all the time, and make sure you do your writs on every character every day, and make sure you do and I'm like, what if I'm bored, like you know, that kind of player. Does that make sense?
I do that.
You know that player?
Though. If anyone ever shares their screen with me and I like see their UI and how they've got their if they've got a passive skill on 3 instead of 5, like, what's wrong with you?
Okay, no, but that's fine, because that's gameplay related. That's less DPS in your trial group, right? But if it's I've frozen again.
You've frozen.
Cool.
If it's like man, it's so specific. If someone says I have to do my writs every day, I don't want to do them every day. On every character, it's so boring. You're telling me I have to do my writs every day, all the time?
You should. You don't have to.
No, I shouldn't.
Okay.
My microphone just fell over, actually. You can tell my anger. Maybe you're that player, Ollie.
I think I'm that, yeah. I was thinking after this we could be friends and do some casual PvP, but apparently I'm going to be telling you what to
do. Would you be annoyed by me not doing my writs on every character every day?
No, I'm not annoyed. No, I don't care. But don't come to me complaining that you've got no gold. Like, that's the issue I'd have.
That's the trade-off.
Oh, I'm so poor. Well, I've been telling you the way to get rich is do your writ.
How rich are you in ESO?
Me?
Yeah. Or anyone?
Really, really rich. I never complain about having no gold. Yeah.
Okay.
I give all mine away.
Just tens of thousands of gold, you know.
Tens of thousands.
I've got like 60 million on each server, which I think is not much.
I have 500,000 gold on my whole EU account right now.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah.
How do you?
I don't do anything to make gold. I just it just doesn't matter to me. You know, I live in my means. Kind of like a nomad, ESO nomad.
ESO nomad. Do you have a house in ESO?
I bought the mud hut in Shadowfen.
All right.
And I put a cat that runs around the middle of it just over and over again.
Yep.
And I thought that was quite funny. And then I just dump all my furnishings there that are filling up my thing. Other than that, I have all the free houses they've given us. But no, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I have enough gold to sustain my characters. That's pretty much it. I can make gold if I want. I just don't.
Okay. You sure about that though?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah. Well, you need to make gold. What would you do to make gold, mate?
Writs.
Writs, you do your writs.
You listen, Nefas. You have to do your writs every day on every character.
Okay.
That's the way.
How many characters do you have?
9.
Shit.
9.
That's not enough.
You can make 10 for free. Why haven't you made the 10th one?
It's boring, isn't it?
Okay, fine.
All right.
I have 9 characters, and only 3 of them have crafting leveled.
So you don't do writs. You wouldn't be able to do writs.
I do writs on those 3 characters.
Hang on, how are you getting bored only doing writs on 3 characters? That's
boring.
Have you tried 20 characters? Right? You should.
30, yeah, I do, yeah.
You do 30. Oh, right, because you have a
I
second
do 20
account.
on 20 on EU, 10 on NA.
Okay, yeah.
That's insane. Every day that you log in.
No, not if I can't be bothered. But
Right.
What determines that? What determines you not getting bothered?
if I've got other stuff to do that day.
Like what?
IRL comes before gaming.
I don't know. I think I'm actually being contradictory here because I just said the moment-to-moment gameplay in every MMO isn't that fun.
Yeah, exactly.
The overall, so I am being contradictory to myself, but I am aware I'm being contradictory, so maybe that's a bit better.
Are you?
No, I the thing is, I do dailies in other ways. I do I've been doing all the Westfield dailies at the moment. I don't know. I just don't like feeling forced to do anything. I just do stuff if I want to do it.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
But then I don't complain that I have no gold either. I just don't. I'd just rather not do it and then have smaller amounts of gold and enjoy my time on the game more. I have a lot of I did do writs for a while, so I do have a lot of material stacks up, and I did all my surveys the other day, and I've got stuff for ages, so I won't even need gold for the whole patch probably. I have all the gear mostly that I want. I have everything enchanted with triglyphs. I have everything that I need pretty much. I just need to make pots.
Yeah, I feel like every patch you probably only need less than 1 million to outfit a character.
Yeah, definitely. I spent 1 million this patch on 2 different characters, and now I'm pretty much set for the whole patch, unless we decide to do a sweat group for 3 days.
Yeah.
No, I think it's milsim gamers I don't like playing with. I think that's what I don't like playing with. I played with a guy Immortal who we went to. He was in another guild, but we joined with their guild to do a dungeon, it was basically a raid. In Mortal Online 2, there's no instances, so you can have 50 people all run into this dungeon at once if you want. And people can come up behind you as well and try to PvP you and all this kind of thing. So we went in with this huge group to do this dungeon, which you only need 8 people for, but we had about 20 people. And he said... we would bearing in mind, but this is we're 8. Well, I'm not a stoner, but the rest of them are stoners, just sitting there smoking weed and just really sort of spaced out. And this guy stopped and he was like, "All right, guys, this is how you're going to do this dungeon." And then he lists the mechanics and he says, "We're going to ask 3 of you the mechanics, 3 different." And he started asking, he's at random, "Okay, you. What's the first mechanic then, and how do you a teacher would?"
Oh my!
And I was like, "This isn't." He has the best intentions at heart. He has the best intentions at heart, and he wants us to all succeed in doing this dungeon. But I wanted to leave. It was horrible, and I was like, "Please don't ask me. Please don't ask me. I'm not going to answer if you ask me. I'm just going to run in and swing my sword." And yeah, that was a horrible experience. That's the kind of person I don't like playing with, where they want to make it into this really serious experience, and you have to do this and you have to do that, and we're gonna sit you down and ask you questions, and it was horrible. It was yeah.
Are you gonna play Ashes Creation? Out of curiosity.
I've not got the early access thing, and I definitely won't. Guess it.
Okay.
Not because I don't want it. It's just not worth the money
Okay.
to me. Yeah, I mean, friends have got it because they're in. Nice has got it, which makes sense for him because it's going to pay him back in dividends for doing videos about it. I don't want to do videos about it, so for me, it's just what is it? It's 150, 250, something like that.
Around there.
Dollars. Yeah. What's the point? Yeah, it's just not worth it to me. But I will play it. I think I'm really interested in it. It's very similar to Mortal Online 2 in terms of mechanics. Yeah, I think I'll really enjoy it. Mortal Online 2 has the full loot PvP. In Ashes of Creation, it's only materials or something you drop. You don't drop gear. But the mechanics of how open world PvP is quite similar in all the transports and all this kind of thing. But the combat system seems a bit more similar to what I would be good at. Versus Mortal is more like chivalry and melee type stuff, and I'm bad at those games. I'm bad at Mortal. I just enjoy it. So I think Ashes will be fun, and I'll be a bit better at it than current games I play. Yeah. I saw Becca in Twitch chat says, Eddie, I don't think trials are going to be for you. That's like 90% of getting into them, which maybe is why I haven't done trials.
Well,
I think it depends on the group. I found on NA they do explain mechanics for 20 minutes before actually pulling. But
I don't mind being
Europe,
explained mechanics, but yeah, it's more like I didn't want to be asked about it after. It felt like I was in a... Uh-oh, am I still there?
Yeah.
Sorry, my camera. I might have to turn off the camera. It's kind of going crazy.
okay.
I don't mind. Go on, I'll try one more time. Oh, now it's decided to change camera entirely. Oh, well. No idea why it's doing this.
No worries.
Yeah, I don't mind being explained. I just don't like being condescended, I think is the word. I felt condescended, and it felt very military-esque.
I have found from personal experience that you just lose people's attentions if you explain things for trials. So I found the best results to be you go in and you explain during the fight. Kind of. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and then you die, you inevitably wipe the first time, and then
that's
people
fine.
for the next time kind of thing. Yeah.
It's fine to wipe.
That makes sense.
It's fine to die.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. You learn from doing it kind of thing. You died because of this. Let's do it. Let's not make the mistake next time.
I think the problem arises when people start like not I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like people feel like they're the center of attention sometimes in some ways. When they fail a mechanic or when they cause a group wipe, it's like, who cares? It's a game, you know?
Yeah. I mean, this guy, I particularly didn't... To be fair to him, he did explain it very well, and then we ended up doing it flawlessly. It's just it just felt condescending. And actually, this is funny. So this... Again, in Mortal Online 2, there's like guild wars and faction wars, and there's lots of guild politics and all this kind of thing. My guild is a very small guild, and we don't want to get involved in like the big politics of the game, because you can siege structures and siege people's houses and things like that. And we don't want to end up in a situation where we're getting sieged because we don't have the player base to defend ourselves, basically. So this guild that we were allied with, that we did this dungeon with this strange guy, started getting involved in all these big politics and these huge things and fighting like massive other guilds, and we didn't want to be associated with that because we didn't want to bring attention to ourselves. So we sort of politely ended the allyship, and our guild leader sent a message to this guy, the sort of milsim guy, and was like, sent very polite message. I read it, we saw it, saying, like, we've really enjoyed playing with you guys, and we really want, we still really like you and want to play as friends, and like, we won't kill you obviously, but we don't want to get caught up in your guild politics fighting this huge thing, because we can't do that. So we're going to politely end the ally. And then he kind of went off the deep end and wrote this like crazy anime villain rant. I don't know how else to describe it. And he was like, "You're making the wrong decision. Time will tell us that."
Oh my goodness.
Well, and he said some like crazy things, and it sounded exactly like an anime villain script. I wish I could find it. I would read it out. It's fucking hilarious. Yeah. It is so funny.
Is it like a comic pasta?
That was it. He was like,
sounds like a good.
"You're just betraying us, just like the rest of them." Like that kind of thing.
I think you should find it.
So funny.
Yeah, find
should
that.
I find it?
Yeah.
There was a video. There was
great
someone
copy
made
pasta.
like a meme video of it. I might be able to find that. Talk about something else. I will be able to find it. It was kind of pinned.
God, I don't know if you know this, Ollie, but Eddie recruited me to voice some copy pastas for one of his videos.
This is such. It's an underrated. It's only got like 1,200 views. It deserves more.
Okay. Oh dear.
Do you want to see it? The video? I think I might have unlisted it because I unlisted a lot of ESO stuff.
Yeah. I mean, copy pastas are great. They have so much longevity on them as well.
It was such a funny video. I really enjoyed making it, actually.
Long after people are relevant, people will still be posting copy pastas about them.
I think one day I'm going to delete all my videos, or all my ESO videos or some shit, you know?
Why?
I don't know, I just feel like deleting shit. Or like deleting, I don't know, like fucking, I don't know. Sometimes you just get that urge to just delete everything. And just go fucking, like, just disappear for a bit, you know?
I've been uploading shorts on YouTube at the moment that are just irrelevant to anything. And I've realized that the shorts are making people get recommended my, like, guide videos, like ESO guide videos. Like, I need to do something because it's still public, this video. I found it. 20 minutes of ESO copy pasta with Nefas QS.
Yeah.
Where will I post it?
But what was that one guy? What one guy's monologue?
The anime villain.
Was it in that video or?
No, this is Mortal Online 2 lore. I just asked for the guy who had it to. Yeah, I'm gonna get it within the next 5 minutes. I'll have it, and I can read it out.
Okay.
In fact, maybe I'll send it to you, Nefas, because your voice would actually be amazing for it.
I would love to hear it in your voice, though.
Okay. I actually rehearsed acting it out when I saw them.
Perfect.
Amazing.
Oh, sorry, my microphone keeps falling off.
No.
I seem to. There's poor timing.
Is your microphone round? That's weird.
Yes, it's very strange, actually. It's actually a very bad microphone for streaming because it has a terrible pickup range. It kind of picks up my keyboard behind me.
Your keyboard's behind you? Oh no.
This hasn't broken for years, and then I've broken it on the one time I actually need it.
Okay.
The desk clamps come off. This is professional.
Give me 2 minutes. Right, I have the. I have the message.
Okay. Here we go.
Let me get my guildies in so they can hear this.
I'm scared.
RK says, I hate when
So the context of this
okay.
is... Oh man, how do I zoom in on this? Open in browser, here we go. The context of this, right. We're breaking the allyship because we are worried. It says, hey man, I just want to tell you that Nahuat are going to be dropping out of the Black Widows Alliance. Black Widows is the other guild in this. Nothing personal, just political. Nahuat consists of a small group of solo players, that's us, and we're going to stay true to the small-scale PvP. At this point, Black Widows have been getting involved in like these huge fights, and we don't want to cause too much attention. We all are friends with many of your members, and will continue to be so, smiley face. I hope you understand this is just because we don't want to be allied to guilds of the big alliances, because the confusion of fighting opposite sides of dungeons. So in the dungeons, it gets a little bit confusing because there's lots of different sides fighting and all this kind of things. We just play Mortal Online 2 to enjoy a video game outside of IRL. On that note, we would like to propose a casual non-aggressive pact, which is an NAP. It basically means you're not officially allies, but you don't attack each other. It's just like a way of being friendly to each other without having the politics attached. Outside of the wars and politics of dungeon fights, we treat each guild as friends. You are all welcome in our village, like our player village that we've built, and we can still do trades for things. Let me know how Black Widow feels. See you all around Nave. And then this guy says, we've had every NAP violated ever. I'll have to discuss it with the others. You'll have to drop Reborn too. This is another ally we have who are kind of friends. And then he goes off and he sends a clip of someone attacking. I don't know, it's a weird clip. He says, no NAP for at least a month. Heads up, I will be targeting locations across the map. Place supply storehouses at those you want to keep. They basically increase the help. Says, and our guy says, "You're going to be targeting us?" And he says, "Yes." And he says, reason for attacking us? And he says, "Betraying our friendship like all the others." Soon you'll be a coalition sympathizer. Coalition is like a big group of guilds. He says, "No betrayal. We're still friends. I'm still friends with the Black Widows. I know. We just want to get rid of the Alliance because we're a bit worried about these big things." He says, "There was no discussion, just a force of hand. You think you know everything, but you don't."
Oh my goodness.
He says, "It's not personal. I'm just going to keep playing Mortal Online 2. What else? It's all quite game related, so I'll kind of skip this. And he says, our guy says, I'm not going to treat you guys differently than when we were allied. I just don't want to be involved in the war." And he says, "I'm involving you now." And he says, "Okay." And he says, "You have chosen it." And he says, "I'll just keep playing, enjoy breaking down, enjoy sieging our stuff." We basically said we're not going to PvP them. If they come break their stuff, sure, break it, and we're not going to give you the content, basically. None of us want to fight. He says, "Keep playing, enjoy breaking down structure with no PvP." And then the other guy says, "Enjoy betraying more friendships." And then he blocks him. This is the kind of shit that happens in Mortal Online 2. It's kind of wild. People go crazy in that game.
How big is Mortal Online 2?
Very small. It has
base.
like at any one time it's one mega server. So
okay.
NA has the game is one mega server, which is a problem because the servers are based in London. So NA has kind of like ping issues and these kind of things. But majority of the player base probably is from the US, to be fair.
Okay.
But it has about 1,200 people on at any one time, maybe even less.
Damn.
It's a really small game. But because it's one mega server, it could do with more people. But that one server would start being too much, around like 2,000 to 3,000 players. It would be capped at 3,000, I think. So 1,200 doesn't feel dead because it is one mega server. So
Makes
it's
sense.
just got enough population to survive, I think. But it could do with a bit more. It's a very small game. It deserves more, to be honest. It's a bit broken, it's a bit buggy, and it's a bit clunky, and it's not for everyone because it's a full loop PvP game, and I understand why people wouldn't want to play that. But I do think it does deserve a bit more attention because it is entirely unique as an experience. And I've never quite had highs like it in any other game, to be honest. It's a really, really strong game. Okay. I'm a big fan of. I'm a big advocate for it existing, as you can tell. Yeah, but I also understand why people wouldn't want to play it. They've done a huge update now to make it a lot easier for newer players. So previously, it's been very difficult for new players to get into it because it's incredibly confusing. And you kind of just leave town and get killed immediately, and it's just like, what are we doing? Whereas now they've changed it, so they've made it a lot better for new players. They've made it, given it a bit more direction, and they've tied up the loose ends that made it confusing, and they've also added things like guard towers outside of town, so you can leave without getting killed immediately. And they've added like guild finders in game and all this kind of thing. It's a really good patch to try it if anyone is looking for a new experience. But it is hardcore and it is devastating sometimes and incredibly infuriating. So yeah, it depends what you're after.
Okay.
But I enjoy them. I enjoy ESO and Mortal for different reasons. Mortal is a lot slower paced, and you don't get PvP like that if you want it. You kind of go and do something, you go and grind like a thing, and then the PvP kind of comes to you because you're both looking for the same resource. For example, you go to a dungeon looking for a certain like material, and then there's someone else also looking for that material, and then either you speak to them and try and make friends and try and work something out, or you kill them because you want their materials, and there's this constant sort of social interaction guiding your experience. But you don't go out and get PvP like that. Whereas in ESO, you can log on and I'm fighting people within 5 minutes, kind of thing. So I enjoy them for different reasons.
Yeah. What's the scale of the battles like? I mean, ESO, you have like 40 versus 40 occasionally, or even more.
Mortals had like 300 v 300 at times.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, it's huge, and the server can't really handle it when it's that big. Which, to be fair, like what server?
Neither can ESO.
Yeah, like no server, no server's going to be able to do that. But in general, you're like, it's quite common to, if you go out in a group of 5, it's quite common to find another group of 5 running around, like a 5v5 type thing. But it's, yeah, the fights can be quite big. I know if you like go to the dungeons, again, like I said earlier, they're not instanced, so anyone can go down at any time. There's just one instance of the dungeon, and often there's like there'll be 2 big groups that would be going down there. So I tagged along with one of them for a few days, like a guild that let me hang out with them, and it would be like 12v12 very consistently. That was really fun. And the tactics are all different. Like the group tactics are more like it's very different to ESO. In ESO, it's all about like sourcing buffs and your group composition, all these kind of things. Whereas in Mortal, it's like you have to have like that. There's mages in Mortal that heal, so you have to have a backline of mages, and you have to have people in front of them, like protecting them, like body blocking, basically. And like a good mage basically wins or loses the fight for you. And then you have like foot fighters up the front. You have these like different races that are good for different things in the group fight. And it's all about like the positioning, and like you have formations and stuff like that, which is very different to ESO. It doesn't really matter so much the movement. Yeah, I enjoy them for different reasons, I think. Very different reasons.
Okay.
I enjoy them both still, which I'm quite grateful for.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else do you want to talk about, Ollie?
There were EU elections recently. I enjoyed getting teased about like, who are you voting for in the EU elections? Screw you. Then we've got a general election coming up in like 4th of July or something.
I think it's late. I think it's late. Oh, it is 4th of July, isn't it? Because it's
4th of July,
Independence Day. Yeah. Good old Independence.
It'll be our
elections.
Independence Day. Independence from our Tory overlords or something.
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah. I don't know what will happen. I've been so phased out of mainstream politics for a while now. I haven't really.
I think most people are sort of disillusioned with it.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to want to care, I think, at the moment.
Yeah.
I will sign up. I'm not even registered to vote at the moment. I'll register.
Everyone should vote, even if you destroy your ballot or whatever. It's important.
Yeah, it's more powerful to destroy your ballot than it is to not vote, because at least they know. Because you still count as a person, don't you?
Yeah.
Right. So explain this to me. Destroying your ballot.
So if you
in the UK context.
So one of the arguments about why there's a really low voter turnout in the UK compared to the US, really, really low.
Okay.
People don't tend to vote, and I think when was the first election with Jeremy Corbyn, or was it the second one? Was like the most voter turnout we'd had for years and years.
Yeah.
But before
for the recent London mayor or something, like the average was about 40%.
40%, yeah, that's wild. And one of the people are just generally disillusioned, but one of the points that people have made is that if you're like so disillusioned that you don't want to vote for any of the people standing because you don't agree with any of them and you think you hate them all, blah blah blah, it's more powerful to go in and then you basically spoil your ballot. I don't know how it works in the US.
You can either just like scribble on it or whatever.
Yeah. In the UK, you get a piece of paper and you tick the box of whoever you want. But if you're spoiling it, would be like, scribbling on it or ripping it up or something. And that basically it's more meaningful to do that than to not vote at all, because it shows that you're still interested in democracy and politics or whatever it is, but that you don't want to vote for anyone that's standing.
And it gets counted as a spoiled ballot rather than just nothing.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
When you see the results, it'll be like
that makes sense.
20 for this person. Yeah.
It's about showing that you still care about like
the process.
You still care about the process, but you don't want anyone that's currently standing, basically, because you think they're all useless. Which,
So does that have a meaningful impact beyond the symbolism, or?
If say, I mean, in theory, it's kind of like a general strike.
Sure.
In theory, if everyone did that, it would show that everyone cares about something happening. There would have to be some kind of mass. If I individually went and did that now, it probably wouldn't mean much. But if enough people did it, it would. It's kind of like the same thing as a general strike, I guess.
But wouldn't whoever vote have the say anyway? Right?
Yeah. What do you mean? I mean, if say, okay, in theory, entirely in theory, if 70% of the votes were spoiled, for instance, then 30% of people still voted, and the Conservatives end up winning. The Conservatives would still be in power, and it would still function in the same way. But I think the revolt of it would be so. I mean, people wouldn't stop talking about it. It would be like, in action. I get what you're saying. In action, technically, no, they could just carry on as normal, but it'd be, I mean, you'd have to address it. You couldn't not address that.
Yeah. I feel like the parties you'd have to work harder as a party to convince people who'd spoiled their ballot than people who didn't vote at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a two-party system here, but it might as well be, pretty much.
Yeah.
I guess in theory, yeah, sure, but like the remaining 30% would determine what the laws are and so on, essentially. So what's really, and if the party doesn't care, what would it matter, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think a general strike or something along those lines would be more powerful, but at the moment, there's this big thing that like young people don't want to vote or care about politics at all, and if they did show up and spoiled their ballot, it would demonstrate that they do, but that no party's appealing to them. And at that point, if the party, whatever party decides to make the policies to appeal to younger people, is going to end up winning the next election by a landslide, probably. Does that make that kind of
sure?
So they will have to make the choices to win the next election.
But there'd be damage done in the meantime, right?
Yeah.
Not if they weren't going to vote.
But there's always damage done, though.
Sure. But like even more, right? Like what? You know what I mean? Like.
But if two parties are essentially presenting the same manifesto and doing the same things, which is essentially kind of what this election is going to be like. And I mean, you could argue that Labour are a little bit less evil than the Conservatives, but it's kind of the whole Democrat-Republican thing where they essentially uphold the same values and the same economic principles. How much does it? You know, how do you rebel against that? What do you do against that? Because in any case, the poor are still going to suffer, and whatever else happens with when either parties get in and nothing fundamentally changes for the majority of people in Britain, it stops mattering if you vote for either of them, kind of thing. I think that's kind of what's happening. And by spoiling the ballot, you're going to make, if enough people spoil the ballot, whoever is smarter is going to appeal to those people, pretty much. But the damage is going to be done either way, I think.
Ultimately, wouldn't there have to be a grassroots movement and have people volunteer to get into office instead of the usual crowd? Anyway, right?
I think that would be the ultimate change.
Yeah.
The UK is quite useless at this stuff.
Yeah.
We're not very good at that.
Are you excited for national service though?
Yeah, yeah, mate. It's gonna be great.
I've played Modern Warfare 2. I'll be fine. I can't wait to get a sick skin on my gun.
So you brought this up on the last podcast, right?
Yeah, national service.
National service. This is conscription.
Yeah.
They're still voting
amongst
on it?
other things.
Amongst other things. Like, sum it up.
You take this one, Eddie.
I don't know. All I know about is the conscription.
So my understanding was that it can be conscription, or it could be like helping the fire service or the emergency services in some way.
Okay.
Or like volunteer work, that kind of thing. But the whole sort of doesn't seem particularly well thought out. I mean, they only announced the plan maybe like a month before the general election. I don't think they've even thought it through. It just seems like a sort of weird attempt to double down on their like right-wingness or something.
It feels like a cheap way to get votes from people who think the bloody youth don't do anything in this country, they don't respect anyone, kind of thing. And they need to go to war to get some respect. I think it's kind of buying that vote, essentially.
Yeah.
But it's only for, is it only for 18-year-olds or something along those lines?
Yeah, it's only 18.
Like we wouldn't do it. We wouldn't have to do it.
No. Thankfully.
Oh, it's not 18 and above. It's just going to be like just specifically.
When you hit 18, you have to do a couple of years of thing. Yeah.
So they're actually specifically going after people who think 17-year-olds are too lazy.
Yeah. and the people that are against it aren't old enough to vote.
Yeah.
So.
Do some bloody good in this country. Get some bloody discipline and all that.
How dare they?
What the youth? Yeah. Damn right.
Yeah, they should be farming luminous ink and selling it to us for cheaper. I don't know. Yeah,
it's bizarre.
See,
did you see there was a just before I came on Discord today, I saw something on Twitter, a BBC News official article, of which the headline was Rishi Sunak Rishi Sunak lived as a child without Sky TV, and that was the headline.
Poor kid, didn't have cable TV.
I just
he's one of us.
It's bizarre. That's cheap shot. That's cheap.
Yeah. Politics does become more and more divisive, I think. Yeah. That's what they want. They want us to be angry at each other or something.
Oh, yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Oh no, Eddie's is being censored by the government. Yeah, let's take questions. Why not?
Questions?
Yeah, so we always take questions from chat towards the end.
Okay, chat. Ask me about the politics of the UK.
What's your least favourite race, Eddie?
You have to say an ESO.
Oh.
Okay, wait. I think I can answer that question. What's your favorite?
What? Go on.
Just in general.
Please.
Just in general. What is your as someone who lives in the UK? What is your favorite food or cuisine?
I mean, I'm a chef by day at the moment.
Oh, okay.
But not a very good chef.
Well, you only cook lunch, or what does that mean?
I work in a pub, so it's like pub grub. It's not like anything crazy.
Weatherspoons.
So what's the pub's cuisine?
I did work at Weatherspoons for a year. It was horrible.
What's the pub's cuisine? Like, is it just British English food?
A pub food classically will be like
bangers and mash.
I mean, it'll be arranged. Yeah, well, bangers and mash on a Sunday, pies, burgers, wings, chips.
Okay.
We have nachos, but they're quite Englishified nachos, to be honest.
Okay, so your least favorite.
That's not because of us, but because of what there's an expectation from the pub audience of what pub food is going to be, if that makes sense.
Okay, so your least favorite group of people or race is English people.
I think, and this is maybe the most controversial thing I've said this day. I think that English food can be quite good. I don't think there's much of it.
All right.
But I think that what there is can be decent.
Yeah. Someone told me about beans on toast.
But that's not.
What the fuck is that? No, hold on. What the fuck is that?
That's like Pop-Tarts representing American cuisine.
It does.
Yes, exactly. It's that. What Ollie said.
What exactly is beans on toast? What kind of beans is it? And what kind of bread is
beans
it?
Are baked beans. Yeah, baked beans. I don't even know what the kind of bean is in. It's just baked bean, mate.
Like cannoli beans or something in a tomato sauce or something. Yeah.
Tomato sauce.
It's very sweet tomato sauce, and it's like it's very distinctive. It's very, very distinct. Look up Heinz baked beans.
So the same company that makes ketchup.
Yes. Yeah.
Makes those beans.
Yeah.
Is it good?
They're alright.
If you're a student or hungover, sure, but it's not like cuisine.
They're most famous for being cheap and hearty. They got quite a lot of protein in. So it's like beans on toast is like what people have survived on and what you survive on when you're broke, basically.
Okay, sure, but
like become quite like I don't know.
It's just cheap and easy.
Yeah. Okay, pick your favorite English food.
Toad in the hole.
Toad in the hole is good, yeah.
Toad in the hole? The hell is that?
Oh god.
Toad in the hole is a.
hell?
Shit, you won't know what a Yorkshire pudding is, do you?
Yorkshire
do you know what a
pudding.
Yorkshire pudding is?
Isn't that blood pudding?
Right. So no. So a Yorkshire pudding is actually made of the same. So to make a toad in the hole, you'd get pancake batter, right? Oh wait, no, like crepe batter, not thick.
Yeah,
not like American
it's not self-rising flour. It's plain flour.
Yeah, plain flour, thin batter, thin like crepe.
Okay.
And then you would heat up a pan in the oven. Like, sort of like round pan, or it doesn't have to be round. It can be anything. And then you would put either butter or olive oil in it. And then you would put sausages and the pancake batter over it. And what will happen is that the pancake batter will rise around the edges. So it'll create like this sort of dish thing. And the sausages will cook and the fat from the pork sausages will disseminate into the pancake batter. And you will get like this basically like cooked pancake batter with this pork fat disseminated in it. And you will serve it with like probably mashed potato and vegetables of some sort and gravy. But gravy here is like, it's not creamy. It's like a brown, it's like stock, basically stock and flour.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically it. Is that a good description?
Yeah, I'm looking up images of it. This toad in the hole.
Yeah, it's not very good. I think a lot of British food doesn't look good, but it can be. That's a simple one as well, though. That's a very simple dish. I think a good British food is like a pie, like a steak and ale pie, for instance.
Steak and pie, like beef Wellington kind of thing. Like...
Beef Wellington is
very good.
Of course,
beef Wellington's really good as well, but that's a bit different. A steak and ale pie would be, it would be like a onion, celery, carrot, garlic base. Then you'd have bits of beef brisket in it, and then you would put like beef stock and like a sweet ale in it.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't have to be a sweet ale. It would be like like a draft ale, like one of the warm ones you get in Britain.
IPA.
Yeah, and then you would cook off all the alcohol in it, and then thicken it up with like some kind of like gravy or flour or something. And then you would put it in a dish and turn it into a pie, like a traditional pie with pastry on top of it. Yeah.
What is jellied eel?
That is grim. It's the grossest thing I've ever eaten in my life. It's horrible. What the fuck? It's horrible.
Okay.
Oh, God.
So it's
I don't know where it came from.
Is it actual eel or is it something like...
Real eel.
It's eel, yeah.
Oh, I mean, eel's great. Eel tastes so good.
It's in like...
Not how British people cook
not this. It's like cold in like a...
Cold
like
eel.
Jellied...
Like
Look it up.
I'm looking at
disgusting.
it. What the fuck is going on here?
What about pie and mash and liquor?
So why do they combine jelly with eel?
It's like...
I don't
know.
That should be... Eel should be cooked.
It's probably something from the war.
Okay.
They usually
Which
Older than
war?
that even.
Second war. All the weird foods we eat are usually left over from the war.
It is cooked? It doesn't
I
look
found
cooked.
out why we call bangers and mash bangers and mash.
This bang is like rhyming slang for something.
No, bangers are sausages.
Yes.
For anyone that was confused. But bangers specifically were sausages made in the war, World War II. It might have even been World War One, when there was a meat shortage, and to fill them up and make them look full, manufacturers would put water in them to make them look bigger, and then they would explode because of the water boiling.
Yeah.
And make a bang, and people started calling them bangers because of that.
Oh,
That's why they're called bangers and mash.
brilliant.
But yeah, all the terrible English food is usually from the war.
I think
That's the
that's
truth.
all of Europe, yeah.
I genuinely think the reputation of British cooking has been tarnished by the generation of
Yeah.
people that were sons and daughters of people that lived through the war, because they learned to cook before the internet and everything, but learned to cook from people who had to ration.
Okay.
And didn't learn anything. So now, like, I don't know, there's like a stereotype of like British mums that kind of just cook oven food and like don't really cook. And I do think that my generation in particular, and any below it, are actually a lot better as cooks because they have access to the internet, and everyone I know can cook pretty well actually now. But it might be just because I live in London among people that care about that kind of thing. I don't know what it's like in the other places. I don't know.
Okay, so Toad in the Hole. Huh?
Yeah, Toad in the Hole is pretty good.
Anything else, or is that like the only good
pie? I think a good pie, good steak and ale pie.
Okay.
But you can also do like chicken bacon pie, chicken bacon leek.
Yeah.
Lots of people like liver and kidney. Is it liver and kidney people eat?
Yeah, like liver and onion, liver and kidney, steak and kidney.
I do like
what kind of
steak and kidney. Yeah.
What kind of liver or kidney? Like beef?
Chicken, I think. No. Or is it lamb? I don't know actually.
I don't know.
I've only had it a couple times, you know. It is quite nice. It's got a weird texture. It has got the texture of like a kidney bean.
Do you guys have any spicy British foods or no?
Mustard?
Yeah,
English mustard's quite spicy. English mustard's spicy.
English mustard is like it's a root. It's a different kind of spice though. It's like how ginger has that weird thing. Pepper, yeah. It's like root vegetable spice.
Kick.
Yeah, it's a bit different. I guess we don't really have any spicy food, but yeah.
Like a pickle or
a horseradish sauce. No,
horseradish, yeah.
But that's the same. It's because it's a root vegetable. It's like a different.
Yeah. Apparently, wasabi in the UK is horseradish dyed green. Most of the time. Which kind of makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. I have looked at the back of packets and seen that.
Vinegar.
Do we have any spicy food? I mean, we put.
I don't think so.
Put loads of pepper and stuff, but I don't know. Not really, no. I mean, we don't grow chilies, so we wouldn't traditionally. You can't grow chilies in the UK, so you wouldn't traditionally have it in traditional dishes, I guess. We do have.
We colonized all the places that do have. So that's.
I mean, we have really good Indian food and
West Indian food like Jamaican spice is great as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of jerk chicken places in London that are quite nice.
Okay.
And a lot of apparently the Indian restaurants in London aren't that good, but Birmingham has a really good reputation for Indian food.
Yeah, Brick Lane is quite good in London, but outside of that, they're a bit.
The chef I work with is from Birmingham, and he just doesn't order Indian or go to Indian restaurants in London because he thinks it's terrible.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I like the names of some of these dishes, like Bubble and Squeak. Sounds cute.
Yeah, but it's. I think a lot of cuisines. I think the reason I feel like England gets a bad rep is because a lot of cuisines from countries that you associate with a country are usually not that highbrow. They're usually the result of what's the word, like pragmatic. And Bubble and Squeak exists because you use up old vegetables, leftovers, and it's just making meal out of leftovers. And all cuisines are kind of like that. Like curry, even Indian curry, it's just like use the spices you've got in your cupboard and chuck everything, put all the vegetables you have that are going off, and then whiz them up, and then that's what a curry is pretty much. There's no real like it's just the pragmatism of living conditions mostly. Even the way you prep meat in curry is to do with the fact that it's so hot in India that you need to put acid on it to prevent it from going off as quickly. Like marinating it in yogurt and lemon juice or whatever it is. It's to do with stopping it from going off as quickly because it's hot. Like it's so like there's so many. A lot of it is pragmatism, I think, in a lot of cuisines, and then they've grown from there and become something different because of it.
Is it true you once wet the bed at age 25?
Me?
Yeah, you. This is a question for you.
Wait, hang on. I've got curries wrong apparently. I want to know curry culture.
Don't dodge the piss question.
What do you mean I'm dodging the curry is way more important.
Okay.
I might have got this wrong. A lot of English food is
yourself?
to do with pragmatism. I know that for a fact. And I've probably got it wrong about India, but okay, the piss. No, it's not.
Okay. When did you last piss yourself?
Like 26.
26 minutes ago.
Okay.
Did I piss myself? I pissed myself when I was. I know where the story comes from.
Right.
This is always asked when I'm doing like. This is always
Doing
asked
anything.
when I'm in public. When I'm somewhere. People don't ask this to me on my own. But
Okay.
it happened. Just.
Was it on stream?
Who asked this?
Sawman.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Of course.
I should never have said this. When I was, I haven't. When I was 24 or 5, maybe.
Okay.
I moved in with my girlfriend, and I don't know what happened. One night I just pissed the bed. And I woke up and I pissed the bed, and I don't know why. And it hadn't happened before then, since I was like 7 or 8, and it hasn't happened since. And I wasn't drunk, I wasn't stressed. Well, I might have been stressed, to be fair.
Okay.
I don't know why it happened, and I just pissed the bed. And I said it once on stream, once on stream, probably to about 12 viewers. And now it's like disseminate, because Sawman, of course, hears something like this and abuses it. But she didn't leave me, and she actually didn't know. And then I told her one time on stream when it got brought up once again, and she knew nothing about it. I thought she knew and sort of was like, But then
how much piss are we talking?
Full load.
Oh, that just sounds like your bladder was full and you went to bed before you relieved yourself.
Did you go to the doctors or anything? Like, what was?
No, it didn't happen. If I did it like 3 times in a row, I'd go to the doctor. But it happened once,
what the hell, Ollie?
I don't know. Some people get scared over this thing.
Man pisses himself once, and he's like, oh, he's gotta go to the doctor.
It's done.
I don't know what happened.
I
don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. But it haunts me now because I said it in public. But she didn't leave me, so
okay. I mean, yeah, that's good.
Is that the main thing you're worried about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Jeez. Okay, well, what was the next question?
Was this our questions from chat? Like, what's your favourite English food? When did you piss yourself?
Yeah, I guess.
Who is our audience? Jesus.
I think it might be my audience, unfortunately.
Let's see. What is this? Ooh. Hold on. It was coming from YouTube. Steadyeddie, you're a legend, bro. I remember so many funny fucking videos you made. I used to be so happy when you dropped a new one. Glad you're doing well. From Lamash too.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where's
I'm
the
good.
question? We'll screw
No.
you, Lamash 2.
Oh, hang on. Let's go back to
the
Lamash 2. No. Lamash 2, thank you.
Yeah.
We can go back to him, yeah. He's probably the main character in this whole thing now.
Probably.
Thank you very much, though. I've been doing shorts on YouTube if anyone wants to look at those, but they're all very short because that's what they're called.
For ESO or for, like just in general?
No, I kind of just pick up my phone sometimes when I'm bored and record something and then post it and then leave and don't look at the comments or anything.
Right, like a TikTok or something.
That kind of thing. Yeah, they're really funny. Really funny. Amazing. Yeah, I'm really.
If you're saying they're funny, that's quite a bad sign, isn't it?
When will Eddie have his songs released on Spotify?
I have quite a. Well, I've got like two ESO songs.
Ooh, like parodies or like
rap.
I've got one I made when Oaken Soul got dropped.
Okay.
And I hated the Oaken Soul ring with a burning passion.
Why?
So, because I kept getting ganked by people that had Oaken Soul. I was really irritated. You couldn't do anything without getting ganked by someone who had Oaken Soul on.
Okay.
Pre-nerf when it had like every major, it was unbelievable. It was so irritating. I hated PvP that patch. It was horrible. So I made an incredible parody song that's on YouTube, and it's called Buff Oaken Soul or something like that. I can't remember. And then I made one about gankers on stream, which I also posted. That was called like I hate it. Just gankers annoy me, you know.
Sure.
So just inherently.
Yeah. I've noticed that's got worse actually since scribing or whatever. Every time I try and do those IC daily, you get a ganker jumping on you.
Ganked. Yeah, well, I think people are kind of logging in to do it because they know people are doing the IC daily.
Yeah, but like I've played enough PvP that I don't die to it, and I literally just stand there blocking, and they're still hitting me like 5 minutes later. And I have enough time to sort of whisper them like, "Can you leave me alone? I'm just trying to pick up this barrel of tar to go and explode a foundry or something."
I've actually got more hate whispers since I've come back than I used to, and I don't know why. I don't know whether it's because.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's because previously when I was making videos and streaming a lot, people were more likely to know who I am, or they knew like. Whereas now I don't think people know I'm kind of just a guy pissing about. So they kind of send me hate messages. I've got quite a few. I had one who whispered me, telling me I'm bad while he was like hitting me, like 3v or 4v1 or something.
Okay.
And then I eventually died. And then I found him 1v1 outside and was dueling him and was whispering him while we were dueling, saying, "What did you mean?"
Did you kill him?
No, he was really tanky, and then someone came along and ganked him, and then I teabagged him. Oh, I didn't teabag him. I couldn't teabag, so I just sort of stood in his body, and then I blocked him and never said anything again. I can be quite toxic. But it was funny. It was a funny interaction, you know. He started it.
I mean, that's fair. He started it.
You don't seem pleased with my behavior.
No, I'm whatever about it.
No, it's fair enough, I think.
It's fair enough.
No, it was all very silly. I don't tend to say anything toxic back. I would say lightly troll is the word. I never sort of, what's the word? To say anything bad or anything like that. I think it's silly. I don't get angry anymore.
People get salty at me sometimes. So I've started PvP recently. And of course,
I saw you doing werewolf group.
Yeah. And
yeah,
people
that
got
would
salty.
infuriate
Like,
me.
why? This is werewolves.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would find it if there was a group of werewolves that killed me, I would just laugh.
Sure.
Have you seen the clips of person that plays like Black Ops or Warzone or something? He gets all like the usable items and pretends he's a wizard.
Yes.
Yeah, you've seen that, right? It's like this.
Yeah.
For anyone that hasn't seen it, it's this guy who gets like there's like shock knives or something in Warzone, and he throws them at people and goes, lightning, down the microphone, and people get so annoyed. And I just thought, if that was happening to me, I would just be crying with laughter. I would find it so funny if someone was to kill me like that. I don't know how you can possibly get annoyed at that. It would be so funny. Anyway, yeah. If I got killed by werewolves in game now, I would also probably find it really funny. There's not much you can do against a group, with 12 werewolves. So just enjoy it.
Okay. So yeah, I got some salty whispers, and whenever I get shit like that, I'm just like, good duel. That really riles them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just whisper back, good duel. They get so fucking mad.
Or just or just a GG well played, or a womp womp.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah. I don't usually reply, to be honest, but I replied to that one guy saying it took a while to kill me or something, didn't it? I can't remember what I said. And then I dueled him, and then was whispering him while he was hitting me. Yeah. Anyway, lightly troll is, I think, the best way to approach it.
Sure.
I don't tend to respond though. But yeah, just weird that I've got like a way higher percentage, like way more. Like, every time I go out PvP for an hour plus, I tend to get a hate message now.
Fair.
Bizarre.
But yeah, is there any other question, or besides, did you pee your bed, or what's the best British food, or the song?
I mean, I think we've covered more than I wanted to cover. I think.
What do you mean?
I don't think I needed to hear about bed pissing.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I appreciate
It happens to everyone.
Was it that bed behind you? Was it that bed?
No, it wasn't. It was in our old flat. Yeah.
Good.
No. Well,
Did you?
I mean, I wouldn't be able to show you. I mean, I wish I could take the camera and show you exactly the manner of it.
Just a stain. Okay.
I could do a reconstruction if you want.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, not the same actors. Well, it was the same actors, to be fair.
Oh man.
Jeez. Okay.
Well, yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Ollie, you want to take it off?
Yeah. Where do we find you if we want to see more of you? At the Steady something.
YouTube is everything Steadyeddie show or the Steadyeddie show. I've not been streaming as much recently. I've been starting to upload YouTube shorts just for fun, but don't expect anything grand. And I kind of want to start streaming more again, to be honest.
Oh.
I miss it.
Okay.
So follow me on Twitch, I guess, and see when I'm live, and then I'll probably either be playing ESO or Morsel Online 2, and that's it pretty much. I'm usually just talking shit. I always play terribly when I stream, because I focus more on streaming than playing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. Thank you for having me as well. Sorry, I've spoken so much.
No, you're fine.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, babbled a lot.
Good.
But yeah,
But we tried a podcast with just me and Nefas. It was awful. Like...
Yeah.
Great to have you.
Thank you very much.
I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you. See you.